Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Fallout London is being released today, or I guess it's already been released. It comes out today, right now. You could download it from GOG. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll show the official release trailer. We're going to talk about Xbox console exclusive Stalker 2 gets yet another delay. We'll talk about that as well. That comes from Windows Central. And then we're going to talk about Netflix wants to release a game a month, has 80 in development. So we'll talk about that as well. On top of that, if we have time, we'll talk about the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Season 2 launches with a generally great addition coming from Paul Tassi from Forbes. That releases apparently today as well. So that's out. And then we're going to watch a video from Force Gaming talking about everyone's mad about Soulframe. So that's what we're doing on today's show. We just cover the news, cover topics, watch videos, get you past a couple hours of your day. We're here Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like what we do here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We also have a podcast tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. Episode 403, I think, is tonight. So make sure you tune in for that. All right, how's chat doing? What's going on, Travis? Travis says, guess who got the piece he needed this morning? I did. No, I didn't. I didn't play. That's good. It's good that you got it, Travis. You had some really bad RNG last night in the first Ascendant. What's going on, Stealth? What's going on, Water? Kylo, good morning. Ron, already answered your question. If you have Game Pass Core, you will not be able to play the Modern Warfare 3, but I think you already knew that. Water says, let's talk about Karen Freeze more. What's going on, Roic? All right, so let's start off. Let's start off with the Fallout. The Fallout stuff. All right, so we talked about Fallout London a couple months ago. They were coming out with a update. It's a mod for the PC version of Fallout 4. They fully redone. We watched the video. We were very impressed with the video. And then Bethesda decided to update their Fallout 4 game, and then it made them go to shit because they had to go back and go through the entire mod, make sure everything was working, that they didn't break with the update that they just did. And so they had to delay it. I think since then it's been about 3 months or so. They said they felt blindsided and whatnot. We had a video about it. People gave me shit that I took the side of Bethesda over this, but this is just community fan-made type of stuff. This is not a business. They didn't ask if they really wanted to make a business of this, because this is free, right? They're not making any money off this. It's the donations and stuff. If this was a real business, they would have to get licensing and all that stuff, and then they would communicate. But because they're just a fan-made site, and they did this mod, Bethesda didn't have to go, hey, just let you know, giving you a heads up, we're going to be doing an update. They didn't have to do that, but that's a video for another time, which we already did. So Fallout London is being released today. It was a long time coming, and surprise release date for Fallout London has finally arrived, with the team having confirmed that today, July 25th, we'll see the launch of this game-sized mod following several years of development. Saw issues come and go, and celebrates led to the voices of project and countless developer blogs get published online, and the day finally come around, and today will be that day to play Fallout London. Okay, so years in the making. In a quote picked up by Inverse, the Fallen team of Fallout London will also be released today unless nuclear war happens. While there's also a chance of that happening, it's unlikely, he says, glancing out the window. Hanging by a thread. Therefore, after years of waiting for several pushbacks, the most major of which is caused by Fallout 4's next-gen update, Fallout London is about to be listed for download. It's free, supersized mod that comes in the caveat of 2, though. Firstly, you'll need to downgrade your Fallout 4 next-gen update to play it, but don't worry, the mod has features that does it automatically, and also, it's a beast of a mod. We don't have a confirmed size yet, but it's expected to be around 30 gigabytes in total. Okay, so for the hardcore Fallout fans, Fallout London is also a lore-breaking mod, but it's also an intriguing one. Almost a decade after Fallout 4 was also released, Fallout London offers one of the broadest reimagines of the universe. It's also been seen boasting a fully voiced cast, massive open world map of London, new factions, an immersive story, and much more. It's only available right now for PC players, but it's also a whisper that has been the team wants Bethesda help to bring the mod to Xbox. For now, it's going to be made downloadable through GOG, but the link isn't available just yet. That would be interesting if they go and ask for help from Bethesda to be like, hey, you put this on the store? We'll see if that happens. But it's out, and let's take a look at the launch trailer for this, if we may. Give the music up a little bit.
London, 2237. They always said the sun had never set on the Empire. But now, most of old Blighty is a shell of its former self. Botched together buildings, radiation-filled nightmares, hooligans, up for a bit of argy-bargy, or whatever the bloody hell those things in Thameshaven are, if you know what I mean. In fact, the closest semblance of structure we got is the daft and balmy boys over in Lambeth. Only they won't budge except for a cup of Rosie Lee.
These are dark times.
So in a nutshell, it's all a bit tom-tit these days. Listen, the whole of Blighty's up for grabs right now. Nobody's heard from Her Majesty for ages, and frankly, people are cream crackered hearing the gentry's orders from behind their walls. Especially with those angel bastards making things go bump in the night.
Angels? Never heard of them. What do they want from us?
So all's to play for. Each wanker wants a part of the pie. Question is, who will it be? The last vagabonds of London's gutter?
You're going to pay for your treachery, and pay dearly.
The fascist pamphleteers of the fifth column?
With me as your leader, I promise, this city will be ours forevermore!
Or the Camelot Knights of days past, heading once more under the breach?
Let history remember us. Let history know our name. Fight!
You just need to open your eyes and have a butcher's, me old China. The sun's about to set on this hallowed land. I'll let you into a little secret, though. Whilst the location might have changed, war never changes.
This looks fantastic. This looks fantastic. We'll have a little conversation about this. Okay. So it's out. Gonna show anything else? Yeah, these are all the Patreon supporters. There wasn't a lot of Patreon supporters, I'll be honest. I thought for sure they would have more people. That's still a huge amount of people that helped them, but I thought it would be more. Okay, so let me play this on loop. Let's start this again. Okay, this looks fantastic. Now I wonder in our heads, right? In our heads, because we know that it's not made from an actual. Yeah, it's free, Water. It's a mod, so you can go to GOG and download it for free for Fallout 4. Okay, so because we know this company is not, I don't want to say real devs. When I say that real devs, I mean like an actual company that's charging you. They're a business. These are fans that got together. They're a company. But they're people a group of people that got together and made a mod because they're passionate about Fallout. And they made this. And this looks just as good, if not better, than Jason said in chat. Looks better than the base Fallout 4, right? Now, this took 10 years to make, okay? Now, because we know they're not an actual huge corporation that's making this, I think all of a sudden we give them a break because it's been worked on for 10 years. If this was a regular company like Skull and Bones for Ubisoft and they worked on the game for 10 years, we're like, what's about damn time? These guys are like, looks fucking good, right? Because they're passionate about stuff. So we kind of scale them on a different level, okay? Now, I would like to know if the game comes out and it has that Bethesda jankiness to it because it's Bethesda's creation engine, if people will be as hard critics of this game like they are for Fallout games, right? For Bethesda Fallout games. Or even, what's it called? What's the other company? I can't think of it. They make Outer Worlds. They made Avowed. They made Fallout New Vegas. Obsidian. Jesus. My brain's still working, right? If we give it to the same type of scoring system as when those companies made this. But this looks phenomenal. I love Bethesda games. I love the Fallout series. Okay. This looks absolutely fantastic. And now I'm gonna have to try to get a copy because I don't have Fallout 4 on PC. But I'm definitely gonna. There was just a sale too. It looks like I'm gonna have to buy Fallout 4. Now, think about this. These guys made a free mod. I don't own Fallout on the PC, but now I have to purchase Fallout, so I'm helping Bethesda by purchasing a game so I can play a mod, okay? Which is just insane. 100% that this Bethesda should look at these guys and be like, yo, we would like to offer you to make a lot of other mods and now get you paid, okay? ZeniMax, Microsoft, Bethesda, somebody has to look at these guys and go, yeah, imagine what they can do with an actual budget. Okay, imagine what these people can do with an actual budget to make this game. I'm excited for these people, right? I thought they did a little, wah when they were like, well, Bethesda should have gave us heads up. Again, business corporation looks at you. They don't give two shits. But I applaud them. For making a game for the passion that they are, that we ask for every single day with a game. Make a game, sell a game. Unfortunately, they're not making a game or selling a game. They're making the mod for the game. And so to support these guys, if you play this game, you'll have to go to their Patreon to throw them a couple of bucks or whatnot. Okay, this looks like a full-fledged DLC. This looks better than some of the other stuff. Now, I don't know the length of it. I think they said the length of the video that we watched a couple of months ago. But this looks fantastic. So if you're interested, right, in this, go check it out. You can get it on GOG. It's out today for Fallout 4. It's a mod, and you're going to have to go back to before you did the update for Fallout 4. But it says if you download this, it automatically fixes that for you. So it'll revert back to the update before the latest update that they did. So go check it out. Fallout London. Man, this just opens up the whole world. Like, they can make mods to go to Japan or, go to Australia or go to just any other area than what the United States is. And it could be cool. It could be like sort of like what Marvel does, or DC does, right? There's the main timeline and the different timeline. If they don't want to control these and be like, well, this breaks what the bombs happen in the United States, that they could do the alternate timeline of where it happens and affects the whole entire world and mods could be made. I don't know. Just a thought. Appreciate it very much. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go check out Fallout London if you're a big fan of the Fallout series. Give them a shot. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one. All right, so that looks fantastic, right? I'm very surprised on how polished that looks, and I'm glad they got it fixed because they said it was going to break for a couple of months. They didn't know when it was going to happen. Let me see what you guys are saying in chat. Let's see. Water Bear says they paid for this, so they basically made this to gain goodwill. Well played. Let's see here. Travis says Obsidian. Ron Slusher says Skull and Bones, the first quadruple A game ever. Robert Jones, what's going on? Steam and Xbox let you game share, 100% legal. Brain Eclipse. I can't wait to try this out. Looks so good. I haven't beaten the Fallout 4, and I don't plan on it. But I want to play this. Lorcan says, I played it for an hour earlier, and it ran very smoothly. That's good to hear. Yeah, we were excited. When we first saw it. I was like, this is amazing. And then I gave the guys shit because they were like, well, we got blindsided from Bethesda. And I'm like, man, you can't use them as a scapegoat. You literally did a fan project making a mod for a game that they know, right? They know that Bethesda does stuff like this. So I gave them shit earlier this year when they were bitching about it. But bravo to them for actually getting the game good out and ready to go. Waterbear says, yep, same 30. I'm buying it. What if Sony bought them? I mean, Sony could buy them, but then they couldn't make Fallout games. You know, Altern, they can't make Fallout games. You see, the difference is that they're allowed to make mods for the game because they don't have to ask permission. But as soon as a corporation gets and starts making it, then they would get sued beyond belief because they're making money off of it directly, right? They can't sell it. You can donate to the company because you appreciate them, but as soon as they get picked up by the other corporation, it's not like Sony all of a sudden would own Fallout London, right? The Fallout brand is still owned by Microsoft. Kylo says, oh shit, it's out. I'm going to download it when I get home. Dolphin says Fallout 4 is only $20 on Steam right now, 30. That's good. Okay. I think it was like $9 a couple weeks ago when they did that whole Fallout sale stuff. I cannot stress this enough. It's important to own a gaming PC in 2024. If you don't have the funds, it's completely understandable, but it's something you should aim for. Sarge says they can't do it. They can't do that today, bro, because that would prove that Bethesda has lost the edge. In the old days, they would just be hired. Just makes them look bad, I guess. But you remember, Bethesda doesn't own themselves anymore, Sarge. So it wouldn't be up to Bethesda. It would have to go through Microsoft now, right? I said should have got it during the Steam sale. It was probably like $10. Yeah, it was. I think it was less than that. I think you could get Fallout 3, Fallout 4, New Vegas, and something like that. I think all for $20. Fallout Outback. Yeah, I'm telling you, they could make it. They could do spin-offs like that. They would be smart to do it. The environment alone is worth it. Free download. Franchise says the Fallout to New Mexico and now do a crossover with Tremors. Oh, yeah, there you go, Brain. Start merging stuff together. Why not? Why not? Chris says Fallout Japan might be cool. There might be a literally iteration of a giant Kaljus like Godzilla. Oh, yeah. Now you guys are getting crazy. You guys are getting crazy. Turner says, yeah, if you don't want to miss out, folks, what happens when you the next big mod launches? Yeah, but that's sort of like a FOMO type of stuff, right? Like, let's be honest, Tarnish. Like, if you don't own a PC right now, but you want to play this mod, I don't think there's very many people. I don't want to say there's nobody, but I don't think there's very many people that saw Fallout London and they're like, that's it, I'm going to buy a PC now. Like, they would have to buy, and let's just say $1,000, right? For whatever. You can get less, you can get more, but let's just say $1,000 and then purchase a game that they had no interest in before with Fallout because they didn't own it right before. So they buy a PC, they buy Fallout 4 for $20, and then they buy the mod. And I don't think someone would spend that much money just to play a mod off a game that they weren't really interested in. I don't know. I think the people that are already interested already have that stuff. And the people that played it on Xbox, again, I don't know if they'll go out and buy a PC. Now, they are trying to get it onto console, but that's going to be another year down the line. Minimum, I would think. You can play Fallout. I'll play a PlayStation version of Nuclear Winter. Dolphin says not mods like this, though. Well, they could do a mod like this. They could. Japanese setting is just too overused. I mean, if you're talking about, like, rural Japan, then yeah. Modern Japan, is there a lot of games set in modern Japan? I mean, again, if they did a mod for Fallout London, it could take place like in the Fallout universe. What would Japan look like in that universe? You know what I mean? I don't think it's overused. I think they can completely change what your vision of what Japan is. Well, no, the article that I just read said that they're trying. There's whispers of it. Doesn't mean they are working on it. Yeah, imagine spending thousands of dollars for a free mod. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. Not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying. Robert Jones says Japanese setting overused. Said no one ever. That's not true. Just a couple rows up. Someone did say it. Travis says 30 Fallout New York. Yeah, never mind. Naive New Yorkers, already there. Thousands of dollars for Fallout 4, a game that was running in the last gen systems. No, but you to still buy the system to get a free mod. You see what I'm saying, Tarnish? Again, I'm not going to say that no one would do it. Just, we're talking like the 1% of the 1%ers. Dolphin says, I'm Darth Vader in Star Wars universe on Starfield for Xbox. So yes, there are mods like that. Right. I think what the bigger problem is that this is like, though, as I'm about to say it, it doesn't make sense because you could be Star Wars characters in Starfield, right? I don't know how they protect the Fallout, because if I could be Darth Vader in Fallout, the same thing, right? So the only thing I could think of that they don't want to bring in the London thing into the mod, and again, I'm just off the top of my head here, is that they don't want to break the lore. But at the same time, would you also, as a company, would you like to bring a person's mod in that could make your game look worse? Do you know what I mean? Like, the mods on top is like Darth Vader and Star Wars and Starfield and whatnot and changing. But if you brought in a mod and let them just put it out there, where their game could potentially be better than your original game, that would be a slap in the face, right? I mean, I would let them do it. Especially since the Fallout show came out, and there's no other Fallout to be seen besides Fallout 76, right? 5M did that? Yeah, and 5M got bought out by Rockstar, right? They bought them out to then use that stuff. Fallout London, did we come across a TARDIS while exploring? That would be funny. That would be really funny, Brain, if they put like a Doctor Who reference in there. Because it's a cool concept Fallout game set in the other countries. Problem, don't make any Fallout games based in Russia or Ukraine because we already have a Metro and Stalker game series. Well, you could. It still takes place in their realm, right? Remember, the United States is like the 50s, even though it's in the 2000s, but they're stuck in that era. So you could go back to those places and be stuck in that time frame as well. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like what we know Japan or Australia is today. It would be like stuck in that time frame of the 50s back then. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. And they could do exactly what they do with the Marvel films or the DC films, right? For the game, they could have the main timeline of what Bethesda works on, right? And then they could have an alternate. Yeah, this is what I would do. If I was Microsoft, I would approach other people and say, we have a different timeline now. Okay, there's the Fallout timeline made by Bethesda, and you put New Vegas inside that one, right? And that's the main non-alternate universe type of thing. And then you let other people, modders and stuff like that, make like London, and someone made Miami, and someone made other things, and you put those as mods or DLCs or whatever, but they don't take place in that timeline. They're just offset timeline type of thing. Why not? Who gives a shit? I want to be entertained. Right? Like, let's stop with this. Like, oh, it's so. Everyone knows that Bethesda already changed the timeline of Fallout because of what they made into Fallout 3 from Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. Right? They already changed stuff in there, and then they made their own. So why not make more of it? Exactly, Tarnish. I think making a Japan one would be better than not making one, right? Like, put it out there. Why not? If you look at Assassin's Creed, they put it everywhere, right? You're in Egypt, you're in Italy, you're in the United States, you're in the old days. You're a pirate. Who cares? That's what Bethesda should do with the Fallout stuff, right? Fallout Australia, Fallout Japan, Fallout Whatever. Just put it out there. Put it out there. Put it out there. All right, so that's out. They fucked up by not putting Fallout on Earth. Dolphin, to me, that would be... I think they should still put... I've said this before, and I'll say it again. They should have put Fallout on Earth. Like, you could land in Washington and see the fucking map of Fallout DC, right? You could go, and this would be really cool. This would be really cool. You go to another planet, and that's the planet that ESO is on. Elder Scrolls is on, right? You go to another planet, and you start walking around what they made in Morrowind and all that other stuff. It's a separate planet, but it's in the same universe. Same galaxy. And now Starfield connects them all. You know what I mean? Like, that would be phenomenal if they did it like that. It would be phenomenal. Right? Obviously, Earth is dead. Hence why the human race left Earth and went to space. And that's what Starfield's about, right? Going to other places. But you go back to Earth and you see all the old Fallout stuff. Pittsburgh, DC, you go to those places, it's there. And then you can go to other places and be like, wow, this would be really cool if you could, right? You go to Miami and you see like the downfall. That would be amazing, right? And then you go to another planet and it's the ESO world. But that would also be like dead or whatever. That'd be cool. Exactly, Chris. Right, just an Easter egg. Because then it would connect everything. Then all their worlds would be connected. All the ESO, all the Fallout, and then now Starfield connects them all, and they're all in the same galaxy. Or same universe. That would be cool. But, you know, someone's going to do a mod. Someone's 100% going to make Fallout 4 mod on Earth. 1,000% is going to happen in Starfield. And you'll still have people go, well, Starfield's okay. Right? Someone will take London and shove it on the planet, and they'll be like, yeah, it's got borders. It's got boundaries. You know it's going to happen. Does that mean Redfall would be connected too? No, it's not. It's not in that same universe. Why would it be cool if it's connected? Because in Starfield, you could go to the planets. What do you mean? It doesn't have to be like officially connected, but it would be cool if you're like, oh, just all in the same universe. That's cool. I'm sorry you're dead inside, Titan. And you don't think that if you could walk into DC in Starfield and then go to the Elder Scrolls world, right? That you don't think it's cool. I'm sorry you're dead inside. Ubisoft issued an apology for Japanese fans on Twitter. Yeah, I saw like the 4-page apology or whatever it was. He's not dead. He's just very, 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 very sad. Like, I don't understand how you don't see it would be cool. I mean, think about it. If you land on Earth and all of a sudden you start walking around, like right now it's just a fucking desert planet, but someone already did a mod where it's like a forest now and whatnot. So I'm sure they'll do it. But if you could walk around into DC and be like, holy shit, this is Fallout 4. Like, you're not playing Fallout 4 inside of Starfield, but you're walking around going, oh, well, that's connected. I just want an explanation. Maybe we're too MCU minded. No, I don't want like a a past, because Starfield takes place in the future, right? So obviously the bombs and stuff dropped and humanity had to leave. So it would be cool if there was a story of why we had to leave. And we know we had to left because human beings are just assholes and we had to bomb each other. So we had to leave the planet because we dropped so many bombs that was uninhabitable, right? So now in Starfield in the future, now you land on that planet and then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this is actually Fallout 4. Oh my God, this is Fallout 3. Oh my God, this is Fallout 76. Like, that would be cool. I'm not asking for like NPCs to be running around the planet. But I don't have to have Bethesda do it. Modders are going to do it anyway. Yeah, if it was a mod, yeah, exactly, Tarnish. Some modder's going to do it. Humans are assholes. That's right. Right. As a species, we are. Humans are assholes. It's our nature. We're like, look at that cute little bunny over there. Pow! I want to put it out on my mantle. If we saw a T-Rex, not for 1 second, first thing we would do is we would shoot it, kill it, gut it, eat it, and see what it tastes like. Be like, oh, it tastes like chicken. Because we're assholes. A little gamey. A little gamey. I think you're familiar with this, that the main pro tag in the first classic Doom game was a descendant to the family line. See, I don't know any of that. I haven't played the new Dooms. Or at least try to ride it first. Yeah, I guess we could try to ride it first, and then when Ted gets killed by it, then we'll shoot it. Well, first we would have to take pictures of it, right? Look, Ted's riding the T-Rex. Moments later, he's eaten. Someone posts that on Twitter, right? Then gets 1 million likes, and then they shoot it, and then they start posing in front of it. Yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly what we would do, Z. Right. He's the most rarest species. How fast do you think we could kill it, Timmy? You see a majestic beast. Someone's like, I bet you can't throw a rock at it. Humans are assholes. That's what we do. Speaking of, I don't know where I'm going with that. The next story, we're going to talk about Stalker 2. Okay. We talk all the time on GXG, on this podcast, when I just play video games, whatever. We always talk about, do not talk about your video game until your video game is ready. Okay. Here is another example of Stalker 2, which got announced like 4 or 5 years ago, right? They first showed it like 4 years ago. They're like, it's coming, right? And they tell you it's coming. They keep telling you it's coming. Like, they announced it before what's happening in Ukraine, okay? And since then, they've been telling you that it's coming out, it's coming out, it's coming out, it's coming out, it's coming out. And yet they keep pushing it back. They keep pushing it back. They keep delaying it. And I get it. Shit happens. Life happens, right? But my thing is, just stop. Just hard pull the handbrake. Stop. Stop hyping it. Stop talking about it. Stop pushing it. Finish the game. Polish the game. Because now you're in territory of delaying it so many times. You're in the territory of Beyond Good and Evil 2. You're in the territory of Skull and Bones. You're in the territory of many games that got fixed, pushed back, polished, whatever. Stop telling us that the game's coming out if it's going to get delayed yet again. So let's read this story. Okay, Xbox console exclusive Stalker 2 gets another delay, and here's when you can play it. No, that title right there, stop. Because now you're telling me I can move it to November or whatever the hell it is. Okay, 2 months. Supposed to come out in September, wasn't it? And now it's getting pushed back more. Okay. So, what do you need to know? Players need to push back their plans to enter the zone just a bit more. Again, that's what it should say. Again. Ukraine developer GSC Games World shared on Thursday that Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl is being pushed back from its planned September 5th release date, and the game is being delayed one more time, now to November 20th, 2024, in order to allow the development team to crunch a few more bugs. Okay? Again, if you know your game's not ready, then you shouldn't have put out the original release or put out the next release and the next release and the next release. It just keeps getting pushed back more and more and more. And this looks bad. It starts to look bad in the game because when the game comes out, people are going to be like, yeah, well, it was delayed this many times, and then, it shows. Okay. It says, we know that you might be tired of waiting, and we truly appreciate your patience in these 2 additional months that give us the chance to fix more unexpected anomalies or simple bugs, as you call them. We're always grateful for your ongoing support and understanding, and it means the world to us, and we're just as eager as you for finally release the game, and we're experiencing it for yourself. Okay, the game director at GSS Game World. You can check out the Yuhuma's new video below showing more unique ways of communicating update and release the date eager players. Now, despite the release date change, players won't be waiting much longer to see a lot more of the game. In collaboration with Xbox and GSC Game World, we've been showing a deep dive into Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl on August 12th, providing interviews and new gameplay footage and full walkthrough for the new quests. Well, yeah, they're doing that because the game was supposed to come out in September. But now it's not. So now it's coming out in August, and now you're hyping this game up, and then it's getting pushed to November. And, out of sight, out of mind, people will not care because it'll be game, play game, right? Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl is set to launch on Xbox Series X, S, and Windows PC, as well as being included day one in Xbox Game Pass. And on top of this, Xbox doesn't do themselves favors here because it's going on Game Pass. And the game keeps getting pushed back and delayed. And if it comes out, I'm gonna say it's a good game. I've never played it. I have no interest in Stalker or Stalker 2. Okay, maybe it's good. I like the Fallout, pandemic type of stuff more than the post-apocalyptic stuff than what they're doing. Okay, it's just more interesting to me. Okay, more and more that Game Pass or Microsoft does this, where they keep pushing back games, and then all of a sudden it comes out, and it kind of just lands flat. Is just another point proven to those people that say, well, it's just on Game Pass, so it's not going to be that good, right? Even though there are good games on Game Pass, right? So a team shaped by war, it says the developer of Stalker 2 has been directly impacted by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with the GSC Game World having to repeatedly push back the game's planned release window. Back before the war began, they originally planned to launch in 2022, as members of the team have been forced to relocate and fight for their country. Okay, the team has shown tactically resilience in the face of overwhelming odds, and the game also, while the game development is never easy, there's simply no denying the GSC Game World has gone above and beyond the crafting experience while quite literally under fire. Here's another thing that a lot of people don't know, and honestly just don't care. Okay, as a customer, most people don't care if you made a game under stress of war. If you lost your studio, if you forgot to, you lost all your employees because they all quit on you, okay? Most people, I'm not going to say nobody cares, but most people don't care about that stuff because they're just consumers. They're just customers that go, hey, what's that, Stalker? They're not looking for the backstory of Stalker, right? And for them to promote, like, that the game, the people that made this game were in a war-ridden area, that sucks, right? But most people, they don't care. They're not even going to ask those questions. They're just going to buy the game, look at the game, and go, well, this game's good, bad, not good, right? Whatever it is, they're not going to care about this game suffered, right? Because that's the thing. If the game comes out and it's fantastic, they'll be like, well, they made this game while they were in war and people went to war, right? That's honorable, right? I'm not saying anything about that, okay? But if it bombs, the media will look at it and go, well, it didn't do well because, it's because they were at war and they had to do certain things. And it's like, again, 99% of the population that will buy Stalker 2 will not even know where the studio is, who the game makers are, who actually created the game. They will not know any of that. But the media loves to bring it up that, well, the reason it's getting delayed is because of this. The reason they did this is because of this. Well, the game was supposed to come out in 2022. Okay? And the war started 2 years ago, right? So how much of the game was done before the war started? And they just keep getting delayed. I don't know. In my opinion, I'm not interested in Stalker 2, and I think the game is just going to come out, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll be like a Metro. I think it'll be good. I don't think it'll be like the fantastic game. But the problem that I see with the video game industry is that just shut up and don't talk about your game until your game is done, because you're not making it better by telling us the game's coming out and then delay it. And then say the new date, and then it's getting delayed again and again and again. Because it's been delayed like 5, 6, 7 times, I think, now. And it just looks bad for the company. It looks bad for the studio. And when a game comes out, if it's not good, then it just looks bad for the game overall. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about Stalker 2? Are you still interested in Stalker 2? Are you going to wait? Obviously, it's on Game Pass. If you're an Xbox person, it's exclusive. Maybe it'll come out down the road later, but are you excited for this game? Are you disappointed that it's delayed again? Or are you just going to wait? You don't really care about any of this stuff. Let me know in the comment section down below or in the live chat. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. And if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. If 30 gets 400 likes, he has to add a topic to tomorrow's show. Okay. Tomorrow's show doesn't exist because we don't do tomorrow's show. We don't do shows on Friday. Coming out the same day as Half-Life 3. I think it'll come out pretty polished. I hope so. The delay after delay after delay after delay says otherwise, but we'll see. Stalker is way more hardcore than Fallout? More than Metro? Or he's asking, Jason, is it more than Metro? Yeah, the average person will have no clue. And I know someone will come in and listen to this or listen to this after the fact and say that I'm a heartless soul, okay? But I'm looking at it from a point of view of majority of people don't know that the studio is in Ukraine. They don't know that the game got delayed 5 times, 6 times, okay? They're just going to pick up the game day one, right? My point is that if you have nothing to say about the game, don't say it. Like, if I'm painting a picture and someone says, "Hey, that's a good picture. When are you gonna be done with that?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I'll be done in a couple hours," right? Then a couple hours come by and they're like, "Hey, you done with that picture yet?" I'm like, "It's gonna take another couple hours. It might take a day or so." They're like, oh, "Okay, I'll come back," right? Like, don't say anything, right? If someone comes over and goes, "You know what?" I'll be like, "I'm just kind of working on it. I'll work on it for the next couple months or so." Oh, okay, cool, right? The expectation is I'm not gonna come back a couple minutes later and ask you, "Hey, are you almost done with the picture?" I'm going to come back a couple weeks and go, "Hey, how's the picture going?" "Oh, it's almost done." "Oh, cool. All right. Don't say anything about your game unless you know that your game is actually going to be done. Sin says November 20th, Microsoft 2024 drops on November 19th. How's that going to work? How is that going to work? What do you mean, how's that going to work? You're saying because Stalker's coming out and then it doesn't matter? I don't think the same people or the majority of the people that are playing Stalker 2 are the same people that are going to be playing Flight Simulator 2024. And even if it was the same exact fan base, which I don't think it is, not saying that, I mean, obviously, I like Flight Simulator. I'm not going to play Stalker. I'm not one of those people. But if those games came out, it's okay because you only can play one game at a time. And if you play it on Game Pass, it's there. So if you're playing Stalker on Game Pass and you're playing Microsoft on Game Pass, they'll still be there when you're done playing one of the other games. Stalker 2 now has to compete with Black Ops 6. Right, Black Ops 6 comes out that time. There you go. I think Stalker 2 is missing up Xbox's release schedule for its own games because they're trying to accommodate this team. That's actually a pretty good lookout because now they've moved it over into other areas. It's just hurting themselves. It literally is just hurting itself. It's not going to hurt those other games. I can wait for Stalker 2. Bought the collection playing those to get caught up on the story. Jason says, I can't remember Titan. Been years since I played the first Stalker. Yeah, I've never been interested in it. Even when they show it to me, I'm just like, okay. I don't think it looks like crap. I'm just like, that's a game that I'm okay not playing. Eric says, I like Metro, but not sure about Stalker. Kylo says, my boss at work asks me daily when parts will be done. I always lie to him. I tell him that they'll be done tomorrow. And when the reality is, it'll be done like in an hour. Set the tone low and give him expectations when you're done with it. That's good. That's smart, Kylo. That's smart, right? Like if they tell you that Stalker's delayed and then all of a sudden tomorrow they're like, hey, it's out. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. I thought it was going to delay 2 months, right? It's smart. Keep expectations low. They're like, oh, okay, I'll come back tomorrow, right? And it's done in an hour. And then they're like, wow, you got that done already? You're a smart guy, Kylo. Sarge says, that's why bosses set deadlines. Otherwise, nothing will get done. Stalker 1 was a 94% with 32,000 reviews. Well, let's see, right? What did Stalker 1 sell? August 2010, the franchise has sold over 4 million copies in August of 2021, and Koch Media is claiming over 15 million total sales for the franchise. Now, I'm a little confused. How many games in the series? How many games in the series? We have Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, Stalker Clear Sky, Stalker Call of Prayat, and then Stalker 2. So the game from 2007, 2008, and 2009, and then Stalker 2 is coming out in 2024. That's a lot of copies sold for... Okay, wait. August of 2010, the franchise has sold over 4 million copies. In August of 2021, GSC and Koch Media is claiming over 15 million total sales for the franchise. Okay. So, in 2010, they had 4 million copies. And in August of 2021, which is 11 years later, they sold an additional 11 million copies. Okay. Stalker sells 1.65 million copies in 2008. So obviously they'll have more people play Stalker 2 than ever before. Just because it's on Game Pass. And they can fudge those numbers all they want, right? I think it's fair that the game might be good. I think it's fair that this game might be good. Oh, sure, it might be good. What I'm saying, my conversation has nothing to do if the game is going to be good or bad. My conversation is about stop telling me about your game if you're going to keep delaying your game. It makes the game look worse. It makes the game seem like there's major problems, and it was supposed to be 2022, then the war broke out, then it got delayed. Then they told you another date, and then it got delayed. How many times? Let's see. Yeah, fifth time. The fifth time. It looks bad. You could have saved yourself a whole bunch of stuff and just say Stalker 2, we're very excited to show you. Because of the circumstances we're under, we don't know a release date yet. We'll let you know as soon as possible. And until you know the actual date, don't say it. Don't say it. Remember, Stalker 2 was supposed to be Xbox first quarter release in 2024, but then it got delayed, and Xbox didn't have a game that first quarter. I'm getting stuck in the First Ascendant. I got to play other games, but I can't, Mike. I think I need help. All right, well, we're here for you, Mo. All right, let's all think of a game that Mo could play to get away from the First Descendant. Yeah. Unpacking. Stop what you're doing right now, Mo. It's a palate cleanser. Okay, it's a palate cleanser. You're gonna have to go unpacking. It's on Game Pass, I believe. Right? Go play unpacking. It'll clear your palate, and then maybe you can play something else. Yeah. It just came to console like 6 months ago. On Steam, 94% positive with 32,000 reviews is pretty impressive. Kurt says Stalker series has an underground cult classic. 94% is damn good on Steam. I've never played Stalker, but I might give it a try. How many times are you gonna fall for it? Right? It's like Cry Wolf. Do you see what I'm saying? My whole conversation this morning is not about if Stalker 2 is good or bad. Has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with that. Okay? It has everything to do with the company itself. If it's Microsoft, if it's GMC, whatever it is, right? Or the game world, the GSC, okay? That they keep telling you, okay, we got the date. We got it locked down. I mean, Starfield did this. 11/11/11, whatever the hell it was, right? 11/11/2023 or 2022, whatever it was. And then it got delayed. It got pushed back. And it's like, if you know the date, you know the date. But don't tell us the date and then delay it 5 times. 5 times. It looks bad. What if Microsoft decides to close the Stalker studio before the game releases? Good. But would it be surprising, Ron, if the game comes out, it's been delayed 5 times, maybe 6 times, then all of a sudden they're like, we'll close the studio down, and then they put it... They'd be just hemorrhaging money. You see what I'm saying? PlayStation VR 2 app released on August 6th on Steam. Oh, so you can actually use the headset now that they're not making any more of? Nice. Should have been day 1, Stealth. Should have been day 1. The PlayStation VR should have been compatible with PC games day 1. Competing in a market of VR headsets, and your headset only works for the console you need, and you need that console to run. Meanwhile, the Meta Quest, you don't need a console at all. It's bad. The headset was more than the PlayStation. You had to buy a PlayStation and the VR headset, and you couldn't use it for your PC games. So you had to buy a separate headset if you wanted to play your PC games. Carter says, Sony shot themselves in the foot. They still act like they were in the mid-2000s. I just thought it was just like silly to make a VR headset in this realm and only make it work where you have to have a PlayStation. I get it, right? I get it. This is not 1980 or 1990 where you make like the Power Glove for the Nintendo, right? There's a whole VR headset system out there that can work with both, and they're like, no, it's only going to work with this, and it's more than the console itself. It was just bad marketing. So much so, everyone told me it was selling like hotcakes, just like the Portal was, okay? And yet, just a couple months ago, they said that they were stopped making it because they had to get rid of the old inventory of the VR headsets, and they weren't going to make any more because they're not selling. Surprise! Surprise. Meanwhile, MetaQuest 3 is selling like hotcakes. Like hotcakes. Yeah, just like the Apple Vision, right? Oh, This wasn't supposed to be part of the show, and this was a rumor, but I thought this was funny, right? I thought this was funny. I posted this yesterday, and this is a rumor. A rumor. Okay? Now, obviously, this is probably AI made or whatever, or whatnot. But I thought it was funny because the rumor is that PlayStation PC handheld incoming. PlayStation is rumored to be working on an AMD on a handheld that will have a PC capabilities to directly compete with the Steam Deck or ROG Ally. Okay? It'll run Windows background, which might be interesting if true, and this would be similar to rumored Xbox handheld, which also be running Windows backend on the PC capabilities. Now, who's the one, if this is true, who's the one? I said that if PlayStation, you guys think that they're going to make the Portal, which they made more areas of Wi-Fi, okay? That I said they're not going to update that so you can play all your games on that thing. You can only play what you have, okay? It's not going to be a handheld, like all of a sudden you can just buy games and play games, okay? I said they're going to sell you another handheld device because that is Sony's MO. What I said. What I said. I said they're going to sell you another device because they know the people that love Sony. That's the only way. Their saturation point is there. And they can't get the saturation point higher, so they have to keep selling to the same people that love that ecosystem, okay? Now, again, it's a rumor. But when it comes out, if it's a PC handheld or if it's just a separate handheld that you can play your PlayStation games on, where you don't need a PlayStation, I will laugh my ass off. Dolphin says, so every copy sold will put money in Microsoft's Xbox pockets in running Windows. Yes. Okay. And this is why I say everyone thinks it's a battleground between Sony and Microsoft and what all this stuff is. And I've always told you that the industry is together. They're on the same side. It'll be the one console will rule them all. Because think about it. If PlayStation has a system where it has Windows in the background, then they're going to have where you can play Xbox games on that handheld, and it would also be able to play PlayStation games. So then it would be the best handheld to have because you could play all the PlayStation games and all the Xbox games and all your PC games all on one device. Now, that would be a very smart move if they did that. Now, Sony wouldn't want you to do that. Stella says Travis already pre-ordered it. Eclipse says they're Apple. That's what they are. They're doing the exact same thing Apple does expect that there is in the console market. I wish they could add an extra capability of something, as he says, some comfortable, great screen like a PlayStation Portal. But you're right. It will definitely come out with a new device for more acceptance for the users. Of course it would, right? Like, they're going to sell you another device. Because, look, they know there wasn't going to be people that move over to the PlayStation 5, right? And people, when they come out with the PlayStation 5 Pro later this year, the people that already own a PlayStation 5 are going to trade up to a PlayStation 5 Pro. And then more people will come in and buy the PlayStation 5 Pro, but there's still a saturation point. So they're like, well, how do we make more money? Well, that's why they charge PSVR 2. That's why they made the Portal. That's why they do all these other things, because the peripherals. And they know that if we can't get more people to come in, then we have to get more money out of the people that are already in the ecosystem, because those people like what we make. Those people are already in. And that's why they keep pushing more devices towards that. And this is why the difference is between Sony and Microsoft, right? The Sony fans look at this and go, Microsoft's not going to make it because they're not making hardware. This is why Sony's so successful, because they're selling PSVR 2s. They're selling the Portals. They're selling and they're 3-to-1 ratio of the console. Meanwhile, Microsoft doesn't care about it. They're like, yeah, cool. You could play it on the television set. You could play it on mobile devices. You could play it on They don't care. They just want the money coming in from all these avenues. If it's 10%, 5%, 7%, 30%, 70%, it doesn't matter. They just want it all coming in from all these different places. They don't care where you play the game or if you buy an Xbox system. If you do, cool. You bought an Xbox system, thank you very much. They're like, hey, yeah, thanks for buying a console system. Okay? But they also don't care because you can play it on the mobile device. You can get a microtransaction over here. You can get a microtransaction over there. They don't care. They don't care. And I'm saying they don't care like, they just don't care. No, they don't care because they're making more money from more places than just that box. Xbox would like, we lost the console war, meanwhile sleeping on a giant pile of cash. Right? They don't care. All right, if you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. We just have conversations. We bring in news articles, have conversations, get you past your morning if you're at work, if you're at home, if you're bored, whatever it is. I appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do live streams, uploads. I haven't done a lot of uploads recently. I'm trying to see something different, and YouTube does. YouTube takes a while to see what the benefits are, and since July was complete wash for me because I was on vacation for most of the month, I'm trying out not putting as many uploads and just doing live shows and see what the difference is between the amount of viewership that comes in for uploads compared to just live streams and whatnot. Who really won? As far as what? As a business, I think they're all winning. I think as consumers, though, we're winning because more games are coming in more places where you don't actually have to own all the consoles, right? Think about it. We don't like paying for like Hulu and Disney and all these other streaming services, Netflix, and right? We're tired of playing all these things, right? We're tired of buying all these different boxes to play these games. So people are just buying one thing and then they can play multiple things on that one thing. Dolphin says, I used remote play last night with my ROG Ally and used my Ally as a controller. Went positive in COD in PvP match. 0 latency. I'm telling you, Dolphin, it's obviously you have to have good internet, right? And it's not always going to be super smooth. I haven't had a terrible time at all. And I've been playing a shit ton of off my device, other device, off my mobile phone with the backbone, off my iPad, right? With just a controller. And I'm telling you, man, if you're a tech guy, you would notice a latency and stuff like that, right? But for most of the time, it doesn't bother. You don't even notice it. You might see a hitch or something there, here or there, but the fact that you can play it without ever owning or downloading it to your device, like I'm streaming it directly to my phone. My phone doesn't even overheat because it's not locally on the phone. You know when you play a game on the phone locally, the phone like starts to heat up. If you're playing through the cloud, there's no heat up. There's nothing because it's being beamed to your phone. It's very well done. And it's just going to get better and better. The more people that use it, it's just going to get better and better. I'm telling you, I said it last year, late last year, mid last year. I said 6 to 7 years, it's going to be the majority. Maybe it's skill-based matchmaking. It could be, but regardless, it's no latency. And does it matter at that point? Yeah, if you play cloud PvP, you're going to see a slight latency. But if you're playing remote play, you don't even tell the difference. All right, so last night, I want to talk about Helldivers for a second, okay? So because of the new update coming out, I was like, oh, let me download the update. Let me go into Helldivers. I didn't play. I just logged into Helldivers. I think they need to fix this, okay? So I already had, I think I had 150 war bonds, okay? And then because I haven't played in a while, I logged on, and then you get other war bonds because the community unlocked it for you. Now I didn't play, so I'm not pissed off about this, but it's kind of stupid that they do this, right? So the max capacity for war bonds is 250. I had 150, and I hadn't played in quite some time, so I had a lot of war bonds come in. Well, the war bonds that came in, I got like 2 of them, and it boosted me up 100, because they were like 50 each. And it shot me up to 250. Then I had 7 more war bonds come in, and I got 0 credits. I got 0 credits for the war bonds because my max was already 250. So my suggestion to them, okay, would be that if you're going to do that, and you're going to reward people war bonds even though they didn't play, that either raise the cap of war bonds so that the escrow that comes in doesn't just stop, working, or don't reward me those things until I have, like, a warning should pop up. Hey, you have full capacity of your 250 war bonds. Go spend them before you open up the bank type of thing, right? They have to do something because I missed out on, right? So you have to constantly log in and make sure, even if you're not playing, you got to log into the game and spend your war bonds just in case that the community earns more war bonds for you so you don't lose them. Okay? I thought that was so stupid. I'm like, what is the point? And I started thinking this from a standpoint of the company. I'm like, all right, they put a limit of 250. I get it. They want you to come in and spend it and keep playing. But then you're giving me war bonds. You're giving me the war bonds for free. That's their choice, fundamentally, that they're giving me the war bonds. And I'm like, all right, cool. But then you're maxing out at 250, and I can't spend those because the first thing that pops up is that you're getting the war bonds. And if I'm getting the war bonds, then I can't spend the 250 to get those war bonds. I'm like, this is stupid. Right? This is stupid. But then I can see it from a fundamental point. They're like, well, people would just bank the war bonds. And my thing is, who cares? Who cares? Because even if I'm done with that first war bond, right? Let's say I completed it. Okay, and now you have 7 other war bonds. I can't open those up until I have the currency. And if I have the currency and I have, let's say, 10,000 war bonds, okay, I still got to go spend $10 to unlock this one, $10 to unlock this one, $10 just to get the fact to do it. So why limit it to 250 war bonds? Okay, but yet you're still giving me war bonds. And to get the next war bond pass, I have to pay the $10 or I have to go grind the game out. And if I am, who cares how many war bonds I have? Because I'm still doing my time towards it, or I'm paying you $10. I think it's just a stupid mistake on their part. But I was like, what's the whole point of giving me war bonds if I can't collect the war bonds? I say you give them half and you put it into the storage or something. Just all they have to do is let me spend them before those things pop up. Because as soon as you get on the ship, the first thing that happens is war bond. And you just click it and you're like, all right, it says 0 of 0. You're like, all right, because I can't collect anymore. So you hold the left mouse button, and then it goes to the next one. Then it says war bond. It tells you why you're getting them, but you get nothing because you have no more room. And then by the time you go through the 10 pages, 12 pages of war bonds that you missed, okay, of the currency you're supposed to get, you can then spend your war bonds. And I'm like, well, that was the stupidest thing ever. Just let me spend it before you reward the next one to me. Like, put a timer. Say you logged on, okay? If they don't want you to have unlimited war bonds, then just say you logged in, okay? You have until today to spend it. And you're like, all right, cool. So then you go in and you spend the things that you want. Then you get the more currency to come in and you spend that. And then you're out because your first war bond's complete. You're like, all right, well, I have enough to get the next war bond. All right, so you start, like, they got to do something. They have to fix that. It's just dumb. There's no point to reward you for everybody if you're not active, because you're not going to get them anyway, because it maxes out at 250 war bonds. Now, the war bonds, that's a whole other thing, right? I said it months ago when it came out. We were talking with Lono, and he said the exact same thing when we were together. He said the war bonds are going to be overwhelming. Said the same thing. I said by November, we'll see how it happens in November. But, like, it's awful. Like, there's the first war bond, and then you page down, and then you page down, and you page down, and you page down. And each of those pages has 3 pages that you go through. And obviously, the company's figured out, they're like, well, we're going to slow down on the war bonds, right? We're not doing it every month. But it's a mess. It's a mess. D says, yeah, that's a nice message to your player. Screw you for not playing and using your war bonds for the last couple days. Right? Well, I haven't logged on in like 2 months. Z. I didn't log on for 2 months, and I know I had 150. And then as soon as I logged on, it went boom, 50. So now I have 200. And then the next one was 50, and boom, I have 250. And then the following 12, I shit you not, I had 15 total of like rewards and whatever else. It just kept going 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then at the end of that, then it let me spend the war bonds I had. I was like, well, that's stupid. That's stupid. Yeah, Dustin, Stealth just told us about it. The same thing. I have 0 war bonds because I don't have the game I bought. Again. Travis, we already went through this. I would not be playing PlayStation right now if PlayStation did that to me. Speaking of games that are broke, let's go with the next topic. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Season 2 launches. And he says, a generally great addition. Okay, this is Paul Tassi. He's been playing it. Played it more than I think I have. Okay. I would have to look at that. I think I have to look at that. Okay. Actually, let me turn on my Xbox and let me see, because I can tell you if he has more hours than me. Those of you who don't know this, me and Paul Tassi used to be on a podcast together. So he's on my friends list. I can see if he's playing on, I think he plays on Xbox. Do I have to? I don't even think I have the game installed. I don't even think I have the game installed. All right. I have 4 days. No, he doesn't play it on Xbox. He must be playing it on PC. Let's see, full library. Yeah, he's not playing on Xbox. So, but he's played quite a bit, because I know he's got over 100 hours and whatnot. So, let's see what he has to say about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Season 2. Apparently, it came out today. Today or tomorrow? Yesterday? Whatever it was. Okay. So, it says Season 2, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League launches today. A game determined to get through at least its first year of content, despite a little bit more of 100 of players on Steam, and likely not too many more that on console. And he says, I have to say, I'm impressed with at least one concept arriving to Season 2 today, and the new addition of Mrs. Freeze, or as I like to say, Karen Freeze, to the roster. He says, no, not in terms of the fact that she looks neat. Her design is less than fantastic, and her addition particularly makes sense. Killer Frost, was right there. But in terms of what they're done with their traversal is incredible, right? And I think it did look cool when we looked at the video the other day in that little clip. It says, then they probably could have just given her a chill jet boost backpack or something. Rocksteady went all out and decided to make her traversal an Iceman Frozone ice surf and trails in front of her, behind her, and actually looks very cool in practice. Okay. The traversal is really the main thing that diversifies player kits in this game, giving everyone the access to the same slate of guns and grenades, and only the ultimates of traversal and meaningful difference for the game's core problems, but they also have really been on point with the mechanics, and I also thought they did a great job with the Joker's rocket umbrella last season, and they certainly looks cool. I talked about that as well. I said it is fun doing the traversal. It is fun gameplay in this. It's everything else in the game that is lackluster, right? It's almost the exact same thing that happened with Anthem. Anthem's base mechanics were really fun. Flying, you know, the guns, everything felt good with that, but the rest of the game just felt kind of and that's what happened with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Okay, he says, of course, it's still a lot of weirdness in the theory that you can make a fire or electric build on Mrs. Freeze, because that's how this game works, even if she will have no doubt some innate cold abilities to her tree, and the melee slam axe isn't going to work differently than the melee Harley mallet. Okay, there's also the fact that Mrs. Freeze could be the most fun character they've ever done, and just too late anyway. Suicide Squad will not recover. The launches of Joker had less than 25% of the players as the game launches, which also half amount to show up on the for the release of Marvel's Avengers. It will be impressed if Mrs. Freeze, Karen Freeze, does even half of what the Joker did, and expect the game's player count to go back down into the hundreds in the week or so. He says, I'm also just not going to play this season. I've thrown in the towel at this point. I don't know if this game is going to do another grind old characters for a few hours to get Mrs. Freeze or pay to unlock her thing, but I'm not doing it either way. I've uninstalled it, as I don't have the hard drive space, the time to devote to cover the game, where 400 people were playing it in the given night. But if you want to give Mrs. Freeze a try, cool. I don't blame you. She looks so sort of neat, and I respect Rocksteady for at least continuing to try here. I mean, I guess you get applause to keep trying. I mean, I've said that they're going to go through the first year. Okay, people in my comment section saying this game's dead. It might be dead, but the game's still being supported for one full year, and I said they will support it for 1 year, because if people like Miller Ross or not, Miller said on our podcast that we had when we talked to him, he said that they had a plan for 20 months. Now they've shrunken that down to about 15 months. And they've doubled up stuff inside the seasons. So season 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're putting more stuff in. So there was supposed to be 5 seasons, but they're taking that 5th season and shoving it into the rest. And I think that's what we're doing with the double, what's happening here. I think the next couple seasons, part 1, part 2, mathematically, right? I think there's 3 in the game right now. We need 13. So this season, there's 4 coming in of Brainiac battles. Okay. So we have 3, we have 10 more. To do, and we have 4 coming this season. All right, and then you have 4 coming next season, and that's 8. You just need 2 more, and you finish it out. So I think that's what they're going to be doing. They've doubled up or whatever to put them in here. So I'm going to download it and play it this weekend. Let me know if you guys want. Maybe I could do some gameplay, do a stream late night Friday or late night Saturday. If you guys want to see some gameplay. If not, maybe I'll just record it and then throw the gameplay up afterwards. Let me know what you guys think. Always there's a feedback section in our Discord. If you're part of our Discord, if you're a member of our channel, you can link your YouTube membership up to Discord. If you're a member once, you can link it up to Discord, and that Discord always links. So even if you're not a member afterwards, you can still talk and whatnot inside our Discord. There's always a feedback channel in our Discord, and anytime you think you would like to see something or not see something or whatever, let me know in your feedback inside our Discord. All right, so look, he's saying the exact same thing. I honestly, it's like twisting my arm to be like, hey, but I'm gonna download it. I'm gonna play it to see it because I would like to talk about it, because that's what I do. I cover games that I like. I liked the game when it came out. We covered it, and I said what the problems were gonna be, and 100% it's like a playbook. It's 100% the same problems that I thought was gonna be the problems when the game came out. I said the only reason I'm playing it is because I like the single-player aspect of what Rocksteady is doing, and I did enjoy the single-player game. So we're going to go back and try it out. We're going to see the traversal and see if it's good or not. I literally hate the character. I think she looks awful for what it is. But yeah, so we'll play some more Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League on stream, off stream. You guys let me know what you like to see. All right, let me see what you guys are talking about here. Too many games, too much bullshit, too much lying, not enough time, didn't care. How about half-ass production anymore? That's what Sarge said. Travis says, Jesus, RNG last night was so much ass, I shouldn't have been on a poll. Titan says, Stick 30 has been talking for ages, is out. The Stick 30 been talking for ages is out. What do you mean? I'm probably going to buy a few more Descendant slots. Yeah, because you only have 10. I think there's, what, 14, 15 characters? That was smart. If you unlock Bunny's ultimate, then just delete Bunny. It's the same character. You don't need to have it twice. Did free Prime players help out the player count on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? I don't know. I don't think they've even told you what the player count is. We can go look at the Steam charts. Let me see. But was that... I have a question. Was that counted on Steam? Or was that through Amazon? Like, does it go through Steam? I mean, they did have a bump today. Look at the bump. It went from when did it come out free on Prime? 252 people. It dips right here. I don't know what this is. This says it's gonna be like a server update or something, right? And then it bounces back up to 2. It goes all the way down to like 35, and then it shoots back up to 252. Yeah, they're never going to share those numbers, Jones. They're never going to share those numbers. They lost everything from me when I got no story for the first episode. Yeah, that's what literally crushed it for me, Mo. When they brought Joker in and they had that 2-minute, but no story playing through the actual thing, I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, this is bad. The Epic game, if you got it for free there, so it's the more story coming to the Justice League game, or is it more of the same? That's what we don't know. So there was leaks in the beginning before we even got Season 1. And there was leaks about talking about how the story was going to bring Batman back and whatnot in the game, but then there was no story. So it's like, what are they doing? And when you make a game that's story based, but then it's also looter shooter based, and you have no story, then we've seen well, at least I saw the man behind the curtain, the wizard behind the curtain trying to sell you, where it wasn't about the story anymore. It was just about selling you microtransactions and cosmetics, which they also failed massively on. Can it go in the negative numbers 30? No, I think it's 0 is the base. I almost want them to get rid of the Steam numbers on multi-platform games. Yeah, it's always... We've had this conversation before, Jones. I don't like going to the Steam charts because everyone's like, oh, the game is dead. There could be 5 people playing on Steam, and there could be 1 million people playing on console across the thing. You know what I mean? Obviously, we don't know that. You just look at that number and go, well, 252 people are playing on Steam, so that means there's like nobody playing on console. But sometimes it's not the case, man. Like sometimes you go into a game and it's just no problem to get into a match or anything. But people always look at Steam as the thing because that's the only thing we have numbers on. Eclipse says, Marvel Rivals is so damn good. I don't believe how much I'm liking the game. I don't think I would, not going to lie. I don't think I would, not going to lie. I got Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in a little later and trying to get caught up. to unlock the Joker and just took way too long, and what killed it for me. Yeah, you have to. It's stupid how you unlocked the Joker. Did they still make it where it's level 40 or something like that, or was it level 10? Roic, I forget. I think it's like 10 levels, but you have to do something like 40 times. I just like, what are they doing? Let me see if anything else is happening on Twitter before we go to the video with It was 40 when I quit. Yeah. Yeah, it's stupid. I think they changed it to like level 10 or something, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, that was level 10 for the new stuff, for the new boss. 'Cause I did the latest boss with Joker for season 1 part 2. That was the last time I played. I literally played it up to beat the boss and put it down. Haven't touched it. Trying to see if there's any other like story. Oh, look at this. Hey, Shock Blast just posted this in the they just updated and they put the Arkham Joker somewhat, well, the costume anyway, inside. And they have Harley. Now, here's the point of this. Inside the game itself, okay, Harley makes a comment where she opens up the locker and sees it and says "as if," and she closes it and she comes back and she looks like not Harley, right? She looks more manly at that point because she doesn't want to be, stereotyped as Harley from back in the past. She's her own independent woman, type of thing. And now they put the cosmetic inside the game. And this is what kind of pisses me off, okay? Because obviously writing that for the game, writing that for the story is to show you that, well, no, we know you want that. We know you want that cosmetic, but we're not going to give it to you. And we're going to make fun of you because that's not who Harley is, who we wrote it for. But then they put it in the store and they want you to pay the money for it. And that right there is the reason I hate microtransactions in video games. Right? That is the reason, right? I think I even said it when we played it. I said, as soon as they showed it in the game, I would have to go back to our playthrough. Okay? As soon as I saw it, I said, yeah, they're gonna sell it to you later. I'm pretty sure I said it live when we played the game through that section. I'll have to look at that after stream and see if I said it. It can't be Arkham. Well, it's not Arkham's Joker. It's the cosmetic of Arkham Joker. Obviously, the dude has one leg in the game. They're not gonna give him a leg. It's still the Joker of what you're playing. He has one leg. The cosmetic. Let me see. Does he have? Shock Blast is playing right now. Let me see if I have. Let me see if I have it. If I have it loaded on my hard drive, I'll go into the system to see what it looks like. If I don't, then I'm not, obviously. I don't know if I have it. Nope. Oh. No, Suicide Squad Killer Justice League needs an update. Oh, update. Okay. Nope, free up space. I don't have it on my hard drive. I have to delete something. I'm playing it now. I'll let you know if I feel about the Discord. Probably not going to be good. Oh, are you playing it? Are you playing right now, Eclipse? Oh yeah. The new Joker. The Joker inside the game only has one leg. Should have just did another Batman. No, I don't think they had to do another Batman. I think they could have done this game much better. I think a lot of people wanted another Batman game, but I'll tell you what, not anymore. Another Batman game comes out, which is the VR one, and people don't like it. They're like, oh, it's a VR. Like, people are just upset. They just don't want. They want what Rocksteady did in the past. And you know what? If you want those games, go play those games. But to think a company is going to do nothing but that same type of game all the time is not very good, right? I mean, if you think Insomniac is just making Spider-Man games, you're going to be disappointed because Wolverine's coming out. And if Wolverine comes out and people are like, they should have just made Spider-Man 3 right away, right? Like, that's the type of stuff, right? Insomniac, they're making Wolverine. They're going to be making an X-Men game. They're going to be making other games. And they're going to be making Spider-Man games. They're allowed to make other games. Rocksteady's allowed to make other games. This one just missed the mark. Should have been Superman. Superman's, I think, is a hard character. We always talk about this, Jason. We've talked about it in depth of what we think should be a Superman game and how they could do it. Literally no one was asking for a live service game. Think about this game. What about if it was the exact same game, but instead of being Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, you were the Justice League? And you didn't have weapons, though. You just did the powers of Marvel's Avengers. Right? People would still have a problem with that. But that's just what it is. Right? If it's just like Marvel's Avengers, but now with DC characters, and you're the Justice League. Rocksteady without DEI and SBI should have made a Batman Beyond game rather than a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I mean, I think they could have made a good game. The story is pretty good. People just don't like it, and they blew it out of proportion about how they killed the Justice League. Well, it's a story. They haven't told the whole story yet. If you play the story, you would know that the Justice League is not dead. Especially if you know Batman, right? Right. And that's true, Sarge. Right? Sarge says, a tarnish, what do you mean? According to the industry, everyone wants to live service. Right. Just like nobody wants microtransactions, but everyone's buying microtransactions. So 83% of the population in America now has bought a microtransaction in 2023. So what does that sign? The sign says, hey, people want to play microtransactions. What does it say? People want live service games because live service games are selling. They're making money off of it. So to say that nobody wanted a live service game, it's not true. The market says what the market wants. If nobody wanted a live service game, then why is the First Descendant doing very well? Nobody wants a C-tier hero game, Waterbear says. But disrespectful to the guy who signed off on the plot. Yeah, people are upset about Kevin Conroy's Batman dying, even though he signed up for the job because he wanted to do the job, because it was something different for him to do. Because it's free and they have no choice. What do you mean it's free and they have no choice? What do you mean no choice? No one's holding a gun to your head to play the game. I didn't say no one wanted live service. I said that no one asked for live service. Well, it's bullshit. It's still, no one said they wanted it, or if they asked for it, doesn't matter. You vote for what you play. The industry says that they want live service games. What it says. Robert Jones says the market bears what the market bears, and the market is also stupid. Waterbear says create a game centered around Bunny. Now that's a game. Oh wait, Stellar Blade is that game. Z says, if people are upset about PlayStation terms of service, then why do people keep buying PlayStation games? Because we have issues, Z, right? And this is what we got in return? Yeah, but it's not just that game, though. You can look at a lot of other games out there and go, yeah, well, this is what happens, right? The reason that you're paying $20 for a microtransaction for a skin in whatever game it is because people keep buying skins. A reason a game comes out broke, buggy, and unfinished as live service is because people keep buying, playing, and liking live service. Here's a simple thing, right? Let's break it down to just YouTubers, right? YouTubers make content, right? I don't make content like this, but YouTubers make content on shit that's bad because people like watching it. So as a content creator, me, independently, I don't do stuff like that because I'm an idiot. Because if I want to make money, I should make clickbait stuff and be a griefer and stuff like that, right? But I don't because that's not what I want to make. But YouTube content creators make content that gets people to click on stuff because that is what makes money. That's what is engaging for people, okay? If you didn't want that content creator to make stuff like that, then you shouldn't watch the video of that, because what it's notifying those people that make that content, they go, well, if I talk positive about something, this many people watch it. But if I talk shit about something, this many people talk about it. So they keep making videos that talk shit about something because that's what it is. And then people are like, well, I hate watching your content, but I'm still watching your content. I'm still leaving a message in your comment section. It doesn't matter if you watched it, you commented, you engaged with it. So like, they look at the stats and they go, well, people love what I'm seeing here, so they just keep making the same stuff, right? That's just content creators. Now, if you go to video games and stuff like that, if you buy, play, and support a broken, buggy, unfinished live service game with microtransactions, the next game coming out is a broke, buggy, unfinished live service game with microtransactions. Doesn't matter if you asked for it, you engaged with it. There's an argument that goes, give the player what they need, not what they want. Kiss my ass, I say. Dolphin says, Stellar Blade is a 10. Game 6 plus 4 points for her ass. Tyler says, no one seems to be playing this one, hence Batman. But they made sales from it. They made money from it. But here's the real thing. They made enough money from this and the cosmetics that people bought, right? Because it's offsetting where, let's say they sold 3 million copies of the game. And that was a $70 game. But those people also paid for the $100 version because it was 3-day early access. So they made additional $30 on top of that, which is half the price of a copy of a game. And then someone bought the microtransactions or the season pass in the game that they gave, right? And they made an additional 10 or 15 on top of that. So now they're at $45 to $50 towards that. And then if they bought more, they made up for the people that didn't buy the game by people just buying microtransactions and season passes in the game. And they don't share the numbers with it, okay? And they don't tell you how many people actually bought the game. And only people they can go with is that, well, it was on Steam, and Steam was this number, so no one played the game, which is absolutely false. Which is absolutely false, because most people that play those types of games are on console, and they don't share those numbers, and they don't do that on purpose. Well, we'll see. We'll see, Tarnish, because if the Batman VR game comes out and it bombs, it could be a great game. But why is it bomb? People wanted a Batman game, but now it's a VR game. So now the excuse is we didn't ask for a VR headset game. Right? If Rocksteady came out and said we were making another Arkham Batman game, it would sell. I don't think so. You know why, Water? Because the same people that made the Batman Arkham series is no longer there. The people that made that game no longer exist there. It's a completely different system. It's a completely different dev team. So Rocksteady by name is it. Rocksteady by name. It's called Arkham VR Mistake. Borderlands movie's gonna flop? I think so. It looks like trash. B. It looks like trash. I just saw the newest trailer, and I'm like, oof, that looks bad. What's going on, Feed? Where is this area that I can vote in for what games we asked for? I would like to know. Is there a website? Is there a website where I can ask what's next? No one asked for? Why would you pick Kevin Hart, a comedian, to be the best, most serious character of Roland? Maybe he wants to do a serious role, but I don't think he does, right? Robin Williams was a comedian. Jim Carrey was a comedian. They also did very serious roles. Just to say that the character, because he's a comedic person or a comedian, okay, doesn't mean he can't be a serious role. But at the same time, you know. Yes, Dirty. The voting booth is up my ass. All right, well, bend over. Kevin Hart only played one character. Yeah, he plays the same character. There's a lot of actors out there that play the same character. I don't think the movie's gonna bomb because of Kevin Hart. By the way, I think it's gonna bomb because it looks like a shitty movie. But I'll take a page out of Tarnish's book. No one asked for this Borderlands movie. No, nobody asked. I voted. I voted up Z's ass, and I voted. I didn't want a Borderlands movie. You're going to laugh, but now GTA Online is letting you deliver pizza deliveries on a motorcycle. Tara says, so basically Rocksteady is a shell of its former self. Yes. Yes. So regardless if you get that Batman game from them, here's what I'm saying, Tarnish. Even if Rocksteady says, we're going back to our roots. We're going back to our roots. We're making a next Batman Arkham game. Okay? It's never going to live up to what you what I or anybody else wants, because those people that made the original games are no longer. Okay? Right? Think about it. It's the same MO. Warner Brothers comes out with Gotham Knights, not the game we asked for, right? Wasn't even a live service game. It was just a standalone 4-player co-op game, but because it didn't have Batman in it, people are like, that's not the game I asked for. Then they came out with Suicide Squad, not the game we asked for. If someone likes a game, they don't say anything. If someone doesn't like a game, it's the game they didn't ask for, right? Rocksteady, okay? I said before it even came out, I said, up to this point, Rocksteady has never disappointed me with their story. I said, I'm buying, which I didn't buy. I was gifted from my brother-in-law for Christmas. He paid for it. But regardless, I bought it, okay? I got the game because I was interested in the single-player campaign for it, okay? The single-player campaign for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is good. It's not as terrible as the internet made it sound, okay? Because it disrespected Batman or whatnot, okay? It was a good campaign. Was it perfect? No, not in any way, shape, or form. Okay? I got my money's worth. And I said, I'm going to play for the campaign because Rocksteady up to this point has proven me that they can write a story. Their story was still good. Okay? I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I thought it was good. Okay? And I was like, well, I'm going to play for the single player. I'm not going to play for the multiplayer. I played it more than I thought I was going to play because I wanted to see what it was for the end game. But the game is not a terrible game. Okay? It's just not thought out. It's like Anthem. It's like Marvel's Avengers. Hence why in the very beginning, I know you weren't around for this, but I said that this game is going to be exactly like those two games in particular because of the format that it was. Isn't there a new studio made of former Arkham games? Yeah, I forget what it's called. I forget what the studio is called. We talked about it a couple of months ago. I didn't think the story was bad, just not Arkham. Right. And the weird part was that they said it's the same characters from Arkham. And that is why people were pissed off. Because they wanted an Arkham game. They didn't get the Arkham game, but yet the people in the game are from the Arkham game. Plenty of terrible products sell like hotcakes? Oh, absolutely. Go on, Chief. If I may use a sports analogy, this will be interesting. It's the Olympic person does a great performance, doesn't stick the landing. Yeah, that's actually pretty good, right? Yeah, something along the lines, Eclipse. It's like 100 stars, something like that. So then you agree that people wanted an Arkham game. Sure. But to how do I put this in a thing? If someone makes a ham sandwich, but you wanted a turkey sandwich, does the ham sandwich is the ham sandwich bad? No. It's just that you didn't want a ham sandwich, you wanted a turkey sandwich. Okay? And you're disappointed in it. Still tastes good. Still goes down just fine. It's still food. Okay? But you were disappointed because it wasn't what you were expecting. Okay? That goes on you, the gamer, not the company. The company is allowed to make other games. The company is allowed to try different things. Okay? They don't want to keep making the exact same thing, just like you or me don't want to play the exact same game all the time. We try different games. We try different things because if you play the same game over and over and over, you get tired of it. Okay? Well, just like devs that make the game, they made Batman for 15 years. They didn't want to make Batman games anymore. They wanted to get away from a Batman game, so they made a Suicide Squad game because whatever reason, behind the scenes, we don't know. And it didn't hit well, right? So, of course, people wanted another Batman game. I personally didn't want a Batman game, right? But people wanted an Arkham game, so they were upset because they expected a Batman Arkham game, and they were served this, and they're like, well, that's not what I asked for. Well, this is not a fucking kitchen. They don't take orders by person. They're a company that makes a game based on what information they've gotten, and it was a bad choice. Movies, books, TV shows, video games. They take a risk, they put a game out there, and see if it sells well. And when it doesn't, then you get the same slop that you get every single day. You get a sequel to a movie, and you get 10 fucking sequels of that film because that's what sells well, so they keep making the movie, okay? If you don't like the movie and you don't want any more of those movies being made, stop watching those movies. If you don't like the songs and you keep listening to the songs, they're going to keep making the same songs because that's what sells. Right? So they put a game out. People didn't like it because it wasn't the thing that they wanted it, but it was still a good game. It's like Starfield. It's a game that people didn't ask for, and they Bethesda also kicked themselves, especially after the success of a Fallout TV show. I don't think Bethesda's kicking themselves. Starfield is very successful, and they tried something different because they already know that Fallout sells well, and they already have a Fallout game that's doing very well, which is Fallout 76, 5 years after it came out. So they already have a Fallout. They have multiple Fallout games out. And they still sell them. People still play them. And they still make money off of them. They tried something different. Sold really well. People engaged with it really well. And they're still supporting it with Starfield. People might not like it. Still did well. I would have taken the Arkham game regardless, whether the folks left or not, over Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. No one is saying that they can't make other games, though. But that's what people are saying. Right? Rocksteady made a game that wasn't Batman, and everyone in the public, this is not the Batman game we wanted. Right? They pigeonholed themselves because they made Batman games. They made really good Batman games. So much so that it's probably the best comic book game out there up until Spider-Man 2018, which took a lot of things from what they did in Batman Arkham. Fast and Furious 8,635. Slop. More slop, kids. Enjoy. I've been asking for a new Breath of the Fire game. No one's listening. Well, you got to talk to Z's ass. you got to vote up his ass. Fallout needs to collaborate with Fall Guys and the Fall Guy. There's new mods for Starfield every day. People love that game. Yeah, it's very successful. Batman ran so Spider-Man could swing. That's a good saying. I don't know if you made it up or if you got it from somewhere else, but it's good. Papa Rappa, the Rapper 3, but no one's listening. Starfield's going to end up creating such a large sandbox to work with. They'll be here for a while. Oh, yeah, it's not going anywhere. Don't forget, IGN said Flash was too fast, and this is not a Batman game you were expecting. That's very true, Altern. Yeah, that's... the Flash is too fast, and this is not the Batman game you're expecting. That was the standard that they were grading on. The more we read about that, though, Jason, about Stefan and Jamie leaving Rocksteady, the more I looked at it and said they set it up to fail, and they left. Right? Because they were doing something else, and then that bombed, and then they're like, we would like you to make a Suicide Squad game, and they just moved it into that position, right? And then, as they got the story going on, they left. When the story was just getting complete, and then they left. So they don't have their hands completely clean, okay? They just were working on it, and then didn't like what was happening, and then they left. If Starfield was so bad, then why did PlayStation fans want to play it so bad? They even had petitioned for it. Shh. No. Starfield is the worst game ever created by man. It's the worst. Someone's building Skyrim on a planet in Starfield. I hope it doesn't take 10 years. It could. But even if it does, Starfield will still be here in 10 years. All right, let's watch.
All right, Soulframe.
Let's watch Soulframe. This is a 15-minute long video from Force Gaming. We like watching Force Gaming here. So we're going to watch Force Gaming talk about Soulframe. Does anybody play Starfield on the Series S? I don't. But I have played it through the cloud on my mobile phone, and it's quite good. Remember that IGN wrote 48 articles in 1 month off of Starfield. 1 month, 48 articles. Oh, man. They probably had a really good month for engagement. All right, so let's watch. Everyone's mad about Soulframe. Maybe he'll talk about how no one asked for this game. Maybe, I don't know. Let's watch, shall we?
I've been keeping my eye on this one since it was first revealed a couple years ago. It's the new upcoming game from Warframe developer Digital Extremes. I've had a lot of hope for this title as someone who's played Warframe on and off over the years, starting when it first entered beta way back in 2013. Watching that game evolve and grow, seeing how they've supported it over time, continuously adding new content for free, and probably most importantly, just the fact that whenever I revisit the game, I have a good week or two of fun checking out all of that new free content. Outside of a few long-standing MMOs, Warframe has been one of the most consistent games providing me entertainment over this
Soulframe is the next game from Warframe, Mo.
past decade. So when they announced that they were making a new game that was sort of like the inverse of Warframe in terms of its tone, setting, and gameplay, while still also leaning into their strengths as a developer, yeah, that got me interested. You'll no doubt see and feel some similarities between the two. There is certainly visual and style through lines, but there's also quite a bit different. Warframe is sci-fi, Soulframe is fantasy. Warframe is a lobby-based multiplayer game. Soulframe will be more open, shared world, almost MMO light. Warframe's combat is fast-paced, twitchy, and focused on shooting, whereas Soulframe's combat is going to be slower, more heavy, and focused on melee and magic. And topping it all off is the fact that Soulframe leans into this whole like one with nature, friends of the animals, Princess Mononoke inspired setting and world, which I really dig. All of this just kind of results in a game that I am primed to enjoy. Like, I am ready, I am amped up to get into Soulframe. So when DE revealed that they would have this big showcase event hosting Soulframe's first official developer live stream at this year's TennoCon, dude, I was pumped, and I thought surely everyone else is gonna be pumped either. We're all gonna be super excited to get this like new fresh look at Soulframe. This game's coming out soon, right? Everyone's gonna be excited, hyped, super pumped for this game. Well, that's not exactly what happened. In fact, after the reveal of this new extended gameplay footage, many people were very much not pumped. Quite the opposite, in fact.
Oh, is this the new gameplay of it? I haven't seen it. I was on vacation last week. Did they have their Tenno event this past weekend? This week? When was it?
Just about every discussion thread that I read online, the comment sections were all predominantly negative. And the gameplay video itself was not only full of negative comments, but also sits at nearly a 50% dislike ratio.
That's not really bad. 1.8 like, 1.5 dislike. That's not a lot of people that watched it. 64,000 people.
Now, even assuming that there's like a bias towards dislikes from the people who will download a extension for Chrome that shows YouTube dislikes, I can tell you from my own channel, from my own experience.
Ron says Soulframe will be joining the Skull and Bones in Concord, calling it now.
That it's never that far off. Like maybe it's off by a few percentage points, but not very much. It's
What's going on, Drama Man?
Typically in line with what the actual video stats are in terms of what you see in the extension, at least from my own experience, from my own channel. So what is everyone so upset about? Well, pretty much the gameplay. Almost universally, the complaints boil down to the look of the game.
So we were talking about this, was it yesterday or the day before? We're talking about gameplay is like the most important thing, right? I'm telling you, man, gameplay is the thing. It doesn't matter what your game looks like. Doesn't matter what visually looks like. Doesn't matter. The gameplay is the front thing. If gameplay looks bad, no one's going to be interested in it.
Here's some examples. I really hope this is still in very early development. The fighting and combat looks very rough. This can't be released with the current animations. They are honestly extremely subpar and thoroughly unenjoyable. Really digging the knife there. So basically, Warframe devs don't know how to do melee combat, ? One that personally made me chuckle a bit was this one that said, imagine being watched by all your ancestors just to miss that backstab with that animation, which is referring to one of the very first moments of combat actually showcased in the recent video, where the character goes up for the backstab and completely misses the target. Now, the animation starts fine, but then the sword somehow ends up far away from where it's supposed to be, not in the back, but to the side of the character. And that's just the start of things, really.
I think that's a little bit of a nitpick, right? We did the nitpick thing with Star Wars Outlaws the other day about the slide and about the different things. And that's a little nitpick. I could forgive a game where you're taking a stab of someone and it misses. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a huge. Let me
Be not in.
Oh, let me back it up just a second.
Starts fine, but then
where it starts off in the center, right? And then goes off to the side over here, and then comes out the side, and you see it's off to the edge. I don't think that's a huge, like, red flag type of thing. Obviously, it's not great, but I'll have to watch more of this, obviously, we are. Base it off the game's gonna suck because of one backstab behind the thing, that's a little far reach.
Somehow ends up far away from where it's supposed to be, not in the back, but to the side of the character. And that's just the start of things, really. Now, I gotta say, after watching back this showcase several times, I don't think these complaints are unjustified at all. Parts of the combat and character movement in particular.
Yeah, the combat does look terrible, right? The movement and what's happening right now, it almost seems, hell, Elder Scrolls Online seems better at this point.
Do look pretty rough. Now, it's not all bad, but enough of it is clearly bad that it's worth mentioning by quite a few people, because there's been quite a lot of complaining, and the video has about 50% dislike ratio. So here's some examples of, I think, the things that stood out the most to me, where I think a lot of the criticism is coming from. So right away, you've got that very first encounter, right? The character goes up, they go into a stealth animation, they sneak around the back of this group, goes in for the backstab, and it does connect, mind you. You can see it. The NPC reacts, and the NPC loses health, but then the animation just completely whiffs it, like ending up beside its target rather than inside.
Like, I think we could go back. I really truly believe that we could go to any game right now, look at the details of animation and stuff, and you could nitpick on anything. I use this analogy all the time, right? You look out at your grass, and your grass is beautifully green, okay? But all of a sudden, you get down low, and you start looking in your grass, and all of a sudden, you see there's a lot of problems with your grass, right? There's, like, bugs and different things eating the thing. You're like, right? If you look at it from afar, it looks beautiful. But if you get up close and you start looking for things, you're going to find them. You're going to find them. And that's what happens with video gamers when you're looking at stuff. If you like a game, like the game. But if you start to really focus in and hone in on something, okay, then you're going to find problems.
Side of the back of its target. I don't know how this happened, but it did, right? So completely whiffed backstab animation. Okay. Shortly after that, we then see the character do this dodge roll, and there seems to be a sliding of like a few extra meters further beyond the distance of the actual roll animation itself, as if the character is like gliding on ice. The whole thing feels off.
Happened in the Star Wars game as well. When I told you that camera pushed her through the cave.
And there are moments like this all throughout the video where the movement looks very floaty. The character is sliding around, and so are enemy NPCs. And I think this is probably one of the primary points where the complaints about gameplay is stemming from. Something about how the character and the enemies move at times feels incredibly disconnected from the environment. There's like a lack of groundedness to the whole thing. But you know what this movement reminds me almost exactly of? Warframe. Surprise, surprise. This sliding movement of the character looks and feels almost identical to what you see in Warframe. I just think that it doesn't much matter to people in that game, since
I can see that, Ian. Like, obviously it's Warframe, Soulframe. It's a little close to Soul-like type of stuff. So, but obviously the devs that made Warframe, we just had this conversation of, Batman to Suicide Squad. They're making a game from this to the melee combat, and melee is not their best suit in Warframe.
Pacing of the movement is so fast. Your character is sliding,
Right.
double jumping,
And with the
flying
sci-fi,
through the air
it
at high
works with
velocity,
it.
rolling all over the place, doing ninja moves off of the
When you're doing it in Warframe, it's cool. It's like sci-fi. You're floating. You're doing all these things. You're like, oh, cool. But now you're grounding it in this fantasy world, and obviously we don't know what the lore is. We don't know what the stuff is. It's easy to look back at Warframe and go, oh, well, this is what it is. We don't know what Soulframe is. We don't know if it's the same type of setting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they make it the setting in the world, the world building, then sure. But it looks weird when they're doing the exact same thing from Warframe inside this new game called Soulframe.
the environment, sprinting, dashing, dodging everywhere. Just the speed of that game is so quick that this sort of gliding and the floatiness is almost a feature of the movement, not
I agree, 100%. I agree with him when he's saying.
Problem with it. But in this slower paced setting, sliding all over the place, far beyond where the animations would naturally place.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense. With Warframe, it makes sense with the setting. The setting of this, again, we don't know the back setting, the backstory, the lore of the world, but it looks off in this because of it.
The character, it does look very out of place. It just looks bad. And again, I think this is where a lot of the criticism and complaints about this doesn't look good. I think
you have to get to level 25 to do her mission. Jesus.
A lot of it is stemming from that. But that's not everything. There were a few other parts of the gameplay sequence that looked off-putting that I think are also raising a lot of criticism. In the player's first encounter with the boss Nimrod, we see them do a double jump and fire off a bow attack from mid-air. Now, after landing, all of a sudden the camera is just right up on the player, like allowing for barely any awareness of the surroundings, to the point where the player then gets struck by this lightning attack that they couldn't see in time because that camera was so close. What I don't know here, though, is if this camera distance was actually moved by the player, the person controlling the character, to try to like highlight the boss animations.
Right. Do you have control of the camera with like the right analog stick to come forward or back? I don't know.
For this showcase, which is entirely possible, or if this camera closeness was automated by the game when the player target locked onto the boss. If it is the latter, that is no good. It is way.
Oh no, they lowered it, Altern. It was 40, I think. You had to get to 40, I think, for Joker. Sorry, we're talking about Suicide Squad as we're watching this, but I think they lowered it from Joker to Mrs. Freeze, but I could be wrong.
Way too close, and they need to pull this thing back a bit because you can't not see like your surroundings and get struck by lightning because of it. That's not great, especially if most of the time you can be a bit further back. Also, during parts of this sequence and following encounters with the boss, it's just hard to make out what's even happening. Now, that is partially because the camera is so close, but then also you've got things like the fog, the haze.
I don't like what just happened there. You got stun locked. I don't like that at all.
The lighting effects and lens flare from attacks from both the boss and the player that just really clutter up the whole thing. Certainly this video's bitrate doesn't help much either. That's a bit of a mess. It's like the bitrate and the compression and processing that happened on YouTube. I don't know. This thing is like a blurry mess across the board. That doesn't help, but really the lack of visual clarity and the visual clutter is mostly due to the stuff that's baked into the game. And I think this is another major sticking point for a lot of people. I mean, again, I look at parts of this boss fight and I'm like, what is happening? Like, you can barely see the boss a lot of the time with the lightning flares and the particle effects and the fog and the debris flying everywhere, and then the lens flare popping off the player's shoulder, and when they fire off attacks, and when the boss fires off the attacks, there's just this big, heavy amounts of visual clutter. The camera being really close doesn't help that much matter.
Oh, absolutely, Dolphin. No one's played the game. This is just from a showing of the first look of the thing. He never mentioned that he played the game. He never asserted that. He's just looking at the video footage
much either. But yeah, as mentioned earlier though, I don't think it's all bad, and I do think many parts of the combat look perfectly fine, if not actually good, particularly the player making attacks, the blocking, the shield slam. Like, yes, it could use a little more oomph. There's a kind of lightness to it all. We could get a more sense of weight would be nice, and I do think there was definitely some alignment issues, but this portion of the gameplay, a lot of those basic fundamentals of combat seems decent enough. Again, I really think the biggest issues, and where a lot of these complaints.
I think what people are getting confused about also, judging this as a Souls game, just because it's a boss fight, just because you're seeing this is not what the game is. It's not a boss fight type of game. It's like Warframe, but it's Soulframe. It's going to be open world, going around, doing missions, doing quests and stuff like that. That's what it's like. It's like Warframe, but now it's fantasy instead of sci-fi. I think a lot of this is showing that you're only fighting like one guy here and whatnot. Yeah, you had that little campground, but I think a lot of people think it's going to be a Souls game, but it's not.
Of combat seems decent enough. Again, I really think the biggest issues, and where a lot of these complaints are stemming from, are mostly that floaty on ice feeling of the character movement, which just feels right in line with what I'm familiar with in Warframe. That heavy amount of visual clutter, not helped with the camera being up so tight for parts of it. And then a few standout rough animations. There is some stiffness to the character, like the character sprinting speed. Funnily enough, I thought the jogging animation
it does look a little
good,
slow.
but once they went into a sprint, it's like it was a robot all of a sudden. And that backstab animation completely whiffing. And there was a few others in there, like the character lining up attacks and like their feet sliding, but again, that kind of goes into the movement thing. And I do wonder, there's a connectedness between these two games, but they are running their own set of animations. They've got an entirely new animation system that they're using for movement and combat. The developer has talked about this, but clearly running on the same engine, and I guess running off the backbone of Warframe, there is a big cross-pollination happening here, and that floatiness to the movement is one of the biggest, most obvious indicators of that here. Because yeah, that looks just like a lot of the movement in Warframe with your character sliding all over the place, but it just kind of works in that game, right? I think because of the pacing, because of the speed. Now, that is the stuff that really stands out to me, the bigger issues, and where, again, I think a lot of the criticisms and complaints are coming from this gameplay showcase. Now, all that said, allow me to engage in a bit of copium here, okay? Partially because of DE's track record, supporting and updating Warframe for going on 12 years now, this game continues to be one of the most popular ongoing live service titles. It is consistently in the top 20 concurrent players.
12 years, right? Live service 19th, only 54,000, peak 65,000. This game's been around for 12 years. You don't need millions of people to play your game to be successful.
On all of Steam. Not bad for being over a decade old. That certainly goes without saying. But then also because I love so much of what they've shown. Like, beyond these issues with gameplay, pretty much everything else about the game I think looks great. The setting, the tone, and the world building. The characters, like that cute little turtle that we saw in the last gameplay showcase. The new rat queen, I think she's awesome. And your giant wolf companion. The style and appearance of the environment, like the player character and the NPCs. For me, a lot of this stuff, they've just knocked it out of the park. Like, so much about what they've shown of Soulframe is right up my alley. Like, I can't wait to try this game out. But the gameplay is pretty much number one, top of the list of priorities of importance.
Hey, look at that. Yeah, it looks great, right? But the gameplay doesn't look great.
For me. So I am hoping that they take this feedback, that they improve on the issues that people are pointing out. But mainly, I just hope it actually feels good to play, because I want to make a note of this here. How a game feels when you play it versus how it looks in a video isn't
That's
always
true.
one for one. Throne and Liberty is a great recent example of it. Throne and Liberty is a great looking game. It is very pretty, certainly. It's got pretty awesome looking animations, but boy, it feels pretty rough, like ranking amongst the worst feeling implementations of tab target I've played in an
Look at the guy looks like he's on a skating ring. I haven't seen any footage of this game.
MMO. Heavy amount of clunkiness to that game and just does not feel smooth at all. It's not very enjoyable compared to other iterations of tab targeting that I've played. So maybe Soulframe is the case where playing it feels great. It's not looking so great on these early gameplay showcases. That is certainly a possibility. I think another thing to consider here is that it is still very early days for Soulframe. The game has, after all, only been in development for 2.5 years. We learned this.
Well, come on now. 2.5 years, chat. You know what I always say, right? Game, 3 to 5 years. Now it's 5 to 7 years, right? But 3 to 5 years. And I always say they'll put it out at year 3, okay? and then fix it 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it'll be out for 3. They make money starting year 3, even though it's not really complete for another 18 to 24 months. That's the MO.
Shortly after Soulframe was revealed, when Steve Sinclair stated that they had only been working on the game at the point of the reveal for roughly 6 months.
So why are they showing? I'm going to back up for a second. So why are they showing it? Why are they showing it so early then?
Sinclair stated that they had only been working on the game at the point of the reveal for roughly 6 months. So we're at 2.5 years. That is not a very long time as far as like game development timelines go, especially for games like this shared world MMO light live service game. Most of these spend 4 to 5 years in development before we actually see.
I love, it's like listening to myself.
Them in action before we actually see like honest to goodness gameplay. So 2.5 years in, I wouldn't say this looks all too bad. Now we do know that timelines have been accelerated because they are building off of Warframe, but nevertheless the point still stands. It's pretty early days for Soulframe. You could argue they shouldn't have showed it this early,
yeah,
but we can't argue that it's not still pretty early days if we're looking.
Yeah, but they shouldn't show it. We just talked about Stalker, right? Stalker 2. Showing the game, delaying the game, showing the game, delaying the game, delaying the game, delaying the game. Why? Why do these companies keep making the same? If they're doing this to show it to hire staff, to get people psyched up for it, to bring it in, right? Understandable. But if you're showing it to the public and you're like, hey, look at our new game, and then they put the game out there and they're like, oh, well, people didn't like our game because it looks bad. First impressions are everything, man. I wouldn't show you my game until I knew that I thought it was almost in perfect state to show you, because it only gets worse from there.
Looking at typical development timelines for video games, 2.5 years, it ain't much. I think part of what we're seeing here actually is just Digital Extreme's willingness to get players involved in the earlier stages of development. This is exactly what they did with Warframe. That game was very rough when it first came out, but many people still enjoyed the core foundation.
So they haven't learned anything in 12 years. Is that what we're saying? Warframe was very rough when it came out. Okay? And they fixed it over 12 years and it's very successful now. Okay? But have they not learned anything at that point?
Myself included. And they've said that they were going to do as much again with Soulframe. When they announced it, they said, hey, we're going to bring people in pretty early. In fact, they have been running limited tests, which they call preludes, for several.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Morecat. We was the very first thing we talked about today.
Months now. People have been playing this game. These are essentially vertical slices of Soulframe to let a small pool of players test out and play around with some early systems and features. From what I've been able to tell, they've been testing like a very limited portion of the open world, some of the procedural dungeon systems, the event things like the event system where roaming bosses move around the world, and some character progression, but it is still very much a limited in its size and scope. Nobody's playing the entire game right now. I guess maybe except for the developer themselves. Now, during TennoCon, they announced that these prelude tests will be going completely open to anyone who wants to try them sometime later this year. Now, that could be a mistake. After all, you only get one chance to make it.
That's right. You only make one chance to get a first impression.
A good first impression, although I just get the sense that DE isn't much worried. Maybe that changes after the reception that they've gotten to this recent gameplay reveal, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe they're confident.
This gameplay looks completely different than what they just showed earlier.
Enough in where they're going to land with the end product that they are fine opening up testing for all, even if the game still has years of development left to go before it gets anywhere near a 1.0 release. I'll say though, regardless of how rough parts of the combat looked in this most recent video, I am still very keen to check out the game. There is a lot about what they're putting together here that I really like, and I think Digital Extremes does have a good track record in Warframe. At least it has for me as a player, a person who's come back over the years to check out all the new stuff. I mean, I spent some money like 8 years ago in Warframe. I bought some packs, some cash shop stuff, right? I bought some frames. But since then, I've pretty much not spent a dime in like 8 straight years, but I've still just about every year gone back and checked out all these updates for free, playing for a couple of weeks at the time. That's been pretty good for me. It's been a pretty good return on investment, right? I don't know what the hardcore player base thinks about Warframe nowadays, but I know for me, as a casual, as a revisiting player, I've quite enjoyed it. I like what they're they're doing with Soulframe. I like the premise, the tone, the setting they're going for. If they can nail the gameplay feel, despite how it might look in these gameplay videos, if they can nail the feel,
no, it's not an
polish it
MMO.
up, get everything else right, this could be another winner. It's certainly very appealing to me,
White.
just the general pitch of it, right? The general thing that they're presenting, I find very appealing. So if they can nail how it feels, the gameplay, and then the systems, features, the replayable content, the progression systems, that would be great. Hoping for the best. We will find out soon enough. Like we said, Soulframe Preludes testing will be open for all at some point in the coming months, and I'll be sure to report back in once I finally get my hands on the game. That does it for this video. Thank you all for watching. What do you think of Soulframe? What do you think of the recent reveal? And do you have any hope for the game going forward? Let me know.
All right. So, look, the gameplay that they showed, it looked rough. But as he's talking about information saying that, you know, it's only been worked on for 2 years. Like, why show it? Now, I do know companies show things off because they want to get other people into the studio, right? It's like a resume type of thing. They're trying to show it out there, get people excited, be like, hey, I'm interested in that. I want to go work for that company, right? 100%. But showing stuff like that and then not being the cleanest, the best looking type of thing, first impression now is like, Now, see, the first thing in my mind is we know about this game and they showed it and it's too early to show, and yet I'm supposed to get excited about it? That's a mark against them. Now, down the road, if it comes out and all of a sudden they tell you, well, it's delayed, and you're like, well, that's kind of self-explanatory. We saw the footage of it last year, right? Type of stuff. Then it just starts to add up, right? Don't show anything until you're ready to show it. And then when you do show it, if it's not your best foot forward, then obviously, I'm not saying they are, but don't get upset at the community or the customers or the people viewing it and going, oh, they don't like it. Well, you didn't show the best possible thing. They're going to nitpick, right? It's just going to get worse over the years, because if a company like Rocksteady makes Batman Arkham and then Batman 2 and 3, and then they come out with Suicide Squad, that next game is going to be compared to their games. Warframe, Digital Extremes made Warframe, and they are banking on this, and then all of a sudden now they make their next game. Well, it's going to get compared to their last game. Just what it is. Okay? I'm okay comparing their games against their games more than comparing, like, No Man's Sky to Starfield. Okay? Because it's completely two different developments and engines and whatnot. But that game does look rough. And just because they showed it early, I'm not supposed to be like, oh, that's why it looks rough. No, it looks rough. It looks like you shouldn't have showed it. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. I like watching Force Gaming. We always watch him. Make sure you go check him out. I'm going to put his link in the description down below. Let me fix that real fast. I hate that there's a new game, and then it's like, it comes out in 3 years. Don't show it to me until it's closer to release. That's what I'm saying. GPC says, see, it's suckers like this that Incarnage practices like 12 years. Well, at least it's better than Destiny is worse after 14 years. Vote with your money, not this. Well, this came out before. Warframe came out before Destiny. Okay. Destiny's been out for 9, 10. And it only worked. Destiny 1 was rebooted and out in 13 months. That's why Destiny 1 came out. It had its problems at launch, right? But again, I've said all the time, don't pre-order, don't do all the stuff. Wait for the game to come out. Wait to see it. A lot of games out there, as he said, maybe it feels better to play it than it is to look at it. Some games you look at it and go, that doesn't look good. But then you play it like, wow, this feels good, right? But to come out and show that game, it does look rough. So we'll see. So someone was saying in chat about the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League that it takes up to level 25, which they did learn. It was 40 for Joker, 25 for Miss Freeze, but that's still, man, that's a long grind. That's a long grind. How does one vote with their money in a free-to-play game? You don't play it. You don't play it at all. If you don't like a game, or something in that free-to-play game, you have to not play that free-to-play game at all. But it obviously, Jones, it doesn't really matter. Because if 100 people decide they don't want to play that free-to-play game because they're just not interested, and one person spends $1,000, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I just got Killer Frost. New sets. Why does it buff burning damage? There's a frost damage in this game, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's what Paul Tassi was saying, that you can make her like a burn damage, which doesn't kind of make sense, right? I mean, obviously, Jones, if you want to play a free-to-play game, like the First Descendant, right? Free-to-play game. If a person likes to play the game, you're enjoying the game, then play it. I'm not going to tell you how to, spend your time. But if you spend a microtransaction in that free-to-play game and that free-to-play game has problems, then you're just telling them that you don't care about the problems and you're going to buy stuff anyway, right? We were just watching about Soulframe, Travis, from Force Gaming. It looked a little rough, but they said it was only in works for 2 years. It's not coming out anytime soon. Well, there's a new Lego Mario coming out, like Lego piece. Here, let me, like an actual Lego. That's pretty cool. That's gonna be $200, easy. That's a 179 piece right there. Oh, I stand corrected. It's 130, 129, 129. Shaun of the Dead's been out for 20 years? Jesus. Uh-oh. What's this? Transformers reactivate. Incoming transmission from Teletran. We know that everyone has been patiently waiting for updates on Transformers Reactivate. However, we won't be revealing any new content this year, Jesus. Your passion and enthusiasm powers our mission to create the Transformers game fans have been waiting for, and now shifted to development in game Unreal Engine 5. Stay tuned for exciting reveals. This seems like an old thing, though. It's a repost. It was. This was originally. Yeah. He just reposted it. This happened before game, like 4 months ago. Incoming transmission. It's not real. Shut up. You shut up, Travis. Did you see the new Alien movie coming out? Looks sick. I did not. Concord's beta hasn't made the cut into Steam's top 750 wish list. I think Concord is going to go down. It's going to go down real fast. Sea of Thieves update came out. Oh, what's this? Is this IGN? Okay. We got another video we're gonna watch. Hold on one second. Let me They got a first for the Star Wars game. Give me a second. 29 minutes ago. They got a 10-minute long video of Star Wars space gameplay.
Lightsabers, blasters, and Jedi robes are all important parts of the universe's iconography.
Hello there.
But Star Wars just wouldn't be Star Wars without ships. X-Wings, TIE Fighters, the Millennium Falcon.
May not look like much, but she's got it where it counts.
Just a quick look at any of these famous spaceships conjures up daydreams of freedom and adventure among the stars. And so, unsurprisingly, spaceships are kind of a big deal for Star Wars outlaws.
I've been a Star Wars fan for decades, and like the space side of things is in particular quite important to me. I grew up on games like X-Wing, TIE Fighter, right, Rogue Squadron.
For today's IGN First, we spoke.
Don't you bring up those games if you're not going to make it like it.
To staff at Massive Entertainment to find out just how they've woven the perfect starship fantasy into the first ever Star Wars open world. Or, perhaps more appropriate for a game where you can fly to multiple planets and moons, the first ever Star Wars open galaxy.
Changing target. Stupid. Can't slice that relay with these ties on us.
I'm on it.
No, that was our way out.
Then we'll make another one.
With 5 distinct, deeply detailed open worlds to explore in Outlaws Galaxy, you'd be forgiven for thinking the inky black space between each of them would be a little empty in comparison. But Massive has applied much of the same design ethos that it uses planetside to the outer space regions.
There's a lot to do. There's secrets to discover, there's exploration, you can scan for opportunities, and of course there'll be living world events or living space events in space. So a freighter being attacked by pirates that you can choose to help out, Empire stopping a smuggling ship that you can choose to intervene in or not.
There might be some other things you can do, like a...
Something's off about the firing. It just looks off. I don't know what it is. I haven't put my finger on it yet.
Wrecked ship that's got a distress beacon.
Like look at it. Right? Watch it again.
Help out, Empire stopping a
now,
smuggling
obviously,
ship
the lead has always been like the spaceship battles and stuff like that.
Choose to
but just something
intervene in or not.
There might be some other things you can do.
Like he's on, right? He's on the point, but yet the bullets are missing. Watch again.
A smuggling ship that you can choose to
look. The pointer's on that pointer ahead of it.
Intervene in or not.
Yet it's missing completely. Like something looks off there.
You can do like a wrecked ship that's got a distress beacon. Is it a trap? Is it not a trap?
I am impressed. Thank you, stranger.
Happy to help.
Oh, I see there's still a force field intact over here, so maybe I can disable that. Everything is driven by the same kind of motivation for you to find the intel, follow up on it, find something interesting, and tying it somewhat back to the story.
Between the organic moments the living event
looks arcadey for better or for worse. Yeah.
System creates, you'll likely want to find a place to moor up, stretch your legs, and scout for new opportunities. That's where space stations come in.
Why does this footage look so shitty? I am watching it. Okay, I'm watching it at 1080p 60 HD. Okay. It looks so pixelated and bad. I don't know if you guys can see it on your end. It looks terrible.
So think of them as...
I don't know if they compressed it wrong or something, but this does not look good.
Many cities. There'll be a cantina, there'll be a bar, people to talk to, there'll be opportunities, there'll be back tables, there'll be secrets, there'll be exploration. There's a lot of things to do in those.
Whilst they're there, they can sell things, they can buy things, they can upgrade their ship, they can pick up contracts, as well as some sort of narrative beats that will take place.
While Outer Space features some contracts and activities similar in scope to what can be accessed on the ground, Massive faced a distinct problem when it came to adventuring among the stars.
Yes, Star Wars is a black space with stars, mostly, and it's very hard to make something.
I like that, Akubava. You're seeing everything through IGN's lens. Everything's a 7 or less.
With that, because points of interest there, so we needed to find what makes the exotic ingredient to it.
This doesn't look blurry or pixelated.
Tatooine space, edge of the galaxy.
The answer was to
I want to know how much space around the planet can you explore?
push the visuals of space in Star Wars further than we typically see in the movies and TV shows. Each planet had to be surrounded by regions of space that looked unique, which in turn would offer interesting gameplay challenges.
We have a regulated space, that's the space that the Empire control, which is our black space with stars. And then we have our unregulated space, which is dangerous part. See the dust cloud, the debris field.
Can I land on that ship? Can I land on that ship? Can I go on that asteroid? Can I blow that thing up over there? That's what I want to know.
If you go in there, it's gonna be more dangerous. It's not Empire controlled. You will not see like big freighters. There's like the pirates and so forth that might attack you.
Akiva space is a big asteroid field, so again, that's going to present its own challenges as well. And then we've got our other space regions that will, without spoiling anything, give some fun stuff.
One of the most impressive things about Star Wars Outlaws is that space is not really considered a separate entity or level from the planet's surfaces. When Massive talks about Outlaws being an open world, it means on a galactic level. All 5 of its worlds, plus the space in between, make up the game's open world. That means there's a level of connectivity between ground and space. For example, if you become wanted by the Empire, its troops will pursue you from the surface to the stars.
Okay. So like No Man's Sky. Okay.
So, you know, if you get into trouble on the ground and you manage to get away and to go in space, you're still going to have that wanted up on the same thing the other way around. Obviously, the Empire is not just going to let you get away. If you manage to get on their radar quite a bit, they are going to start coming after you more and more, and that's going to build up, and they're going to keep throwing things at you to the point where there'll be some tough challenges towards the end.
Here's what I don't want. What happens in No Man's Sky is if I shoot the robots, the Sentinels on the ground, then they start coming after me. I get in my ship and I fly off. Then they're all chasing me. They just constantly come coming after me. It gets a little old.
That will maybe make the players regret their decisions and give them something to think about before they can escape.
We made it.
So the only way to escape them is jumping. Okay.
There's a lot of technical work that goes into creating that sense of a full open galaxy, but there's one aspect that's absolutely crucial: the seamless transition between land and space.
It's one of the first things that we wanted to do, is to have this connection, this player connection with the entire journey of a scoundrel. And that
This is the thing I was talking about last year when we first showed this scene, and I said that once you take off, it's a load screen. Like, I can't fly internally into the planet, okay, and like turn around and start shooting at the Empire and stuff. Once I hit takeoff, it's a load screen until I get to the outer space.
includes taking off from a station, a landing pad in a city or in a settlement, and going into orbit and landing on a space station. All of those things are so important to this idea. And
I agree. I think this is more engaging. Like, it feels like you're part of it. But at the same time, if I have no control, No Man's Sky, I have full control. You have no control in this.
The consistency of the experience in general.
Well, I think taking the player out of the experience into a loading screen kind of kills the immersion a little bit. So keeping the player like in the Trailblazer, you know, as they
but with a load screen
going through these things, experiencing it is quite important from that kind of experience perspective.
Of course, creating the seamless landing sequences requires the Snowdrop engine upon which Outlaws is built to perform some pretty impressive digital wizardry.
So we literally are moving you from here to over here, because this is where the position is now. And then we start furiously unloading everything from behind you and start loading everything on the new map in front of you. So we move you into position, and then we bring in the transition. You move into planet atmosphere, and then we do a blend and we hold the ship. We reposition you. We know where you wanted to land, so we start loading that position, streaming from there.
Can I land anywhere? Can I land anywhere on the map? Or only at certain points?
And out. The rest of the systems handle everything else when you land. But once we finish loading, then we move you again back through the clouds. And that's when you fly it down to the planet's surface, we do a camera cut, and then you disembark at the location, everything being loaded.
While many elements of Star Wars Outlaws is familiar, there's plenty new to see. That includes your ship, the Trailblazer.
Like the Trailblazer for us it's a prototype. Only few ships were built, only one remains.
The rare nature of the Trailblazer means it is a bespoke creation for Outlaws. It's not based on any existing cargo ship in the Star Wars universe. That meant Massive had almost free reign when it came to what the Trailblazer looked like, provided it had that retro 70s inspired aesthetic, of course.
So I was looking at like, oh, what does the ship need? Because we need to have it very sturdy, contains valuable cargo, but also it needs to be very maneuverable because it needs to be evading people who want to steal all that cargo. So my first reference was actually a turtle because, out on land they're not very, agile, but in the water they can be fairly agile and they can use the jet streams to their advantage to be really fast.
I'm sorry, Akuda Papa, did you just say a 1 out of 10? Is that an actual review? 1 out of 10?
But also one of the key references for the front, like when you have like the big vents on the front, they all come from a Ford Mustang. I don't know if you can recognize the shapes, but they were inspired by that.
The Trailblazer may be a cargo freighter, but the Outer Rim is a dangerous place for smugglers. That's why, much like the Millennium Falcon, it's kitted out with a few offensive options.
So the Trailblazer's got a few different weapon types that you can buy throughout the game and upgrade, as well as a turret that you'll get along the way, and various missiles. Obviously at the start it's not going to be its peak power level, but then that just mirrors the kind of journey that Kay's going on as well, where she's getting used to the Trail.
I'll already ask it. I'll ask it before the game even comes out. Is there going to be a New Game Plus? What happens in New Game Plus? Do I lose all the stuff? Do I have to earn all the stuff back? How do they keep me going? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Blazer. So you'll be able to change the kind of color scheme of your hull. There'll be some engine stuff that you can do. All of this is earnable in game as well. So you'll be able to make the Trailblazer kind of feel like your ship with the combination of how you
kind of make it feel like your ship.
Choose to put your armaments on for your gameplay style and the visual look at it. So it'll all come together for a package that you're happy.
While there's plenty of customization options for the Trailblazer, flying this ship is just one part of a much larger whole. As such, Massive hasn't turned Outlaws into a stealth flight simulator. The aim is for flying to come as naturally as walking across a planet's surface.
I think making a fun, accessible experience that has familiar controls, but still that cinematic Star Wars feel, which I think that we've kind of nailed with the feeling of the way the ship moves and the sounds and the music. It all comes together to give that player that really good, either tense experience if they're out exploring, or action-packed dogfighting. I think is really fun and exciting.
Yeah, the flight looks very arcadey.
We're out. We're good.
That's not to say that your ship will control itself, though.
There's some stuff that you can do there, abilities to repair your ship and your shields and stuff, but there will be a little bit of light management of that, with things on cooldowns. Didn't really want to lean into a more sim experience because, Star Wars is for everyone, right? So we want.
Oh, is it? Kathleen Kennedy told me Star Wars is for females. The Force is female. I forgot that it was for everybody.
Want as many players to engage with the systems as possible.
Attention, pilots. Abandon search.
Okay, are we good?
We're all clear. Let's get back to air guard.
To learn more about the wider galaxy that the Trailblazer fits into, be sure to check out our other IGN First videos about Star Wars Outlaws open world design and the criminal gangs that populate it. And for
oh, they have a whole bunch. Oh, maybe we'll do that next week or whatever. Yeah. All right. Yeah, the flight seems good. It's for everyone, yeah. I personally hate the dialogue that the character says after you've already seen something happen. Oh, we're out of this. Show us visually, or with sound, the fight's over. That's all. Right. It's like this. Ready? Z? I've just entered. How's everyone doing? It's me entering is entering. I don't need to tell you that I've entered. Woo! Man. All right. What else do we got? 49 seconds ago, big gameplay leak of Star Wars Outlaws has done wonders for my Ubisoft Showcase fatigue. It's actually giving me a new hope. Oh, interesting. This just happened 39 minutes ago, and they posted it 49 seconds ago. Okay, so let's see. Star Wars Outlaws has a lot. Oh, let me, stars a lot of Ubisoft games nowadays. Sprung a big leak around 13 minutes of gameplay, all told with a few more clips out of where showing off space combat. Ubisoft was naturally nuked their very bold YouTube upload into low orbit, but remains pretty easy to find yourself if you're interested. While leaks are never exactly ideal, it sometimes comes in personal information attached, risking for safety and devs, and also exactly the end of the world for Ubisoft. If anything, it may help. It says, having sat down and watched the 13 minutes of gameplay, it was very least doesn't do anything to harm the hype, even if there's not much to write home about. There's a bunch of cutscenes, a little driving, some slow walking around the city, and leakers in the question is occasionally even emulated an official showcase style. Sometimes the unnatural slow walking and the camera panning no one ever does. And yet, the duel met with the tempered expectations in a way official showcase doesn't, especially since they're naturally trying to sell you on something. There's competent open world action adventure game where it shoots stuff, drive places, and shoot more stuff to show off here. And very least, the population centers seems lively, colorful, and fun to jog between missions markers in. Maybe it's just the fact that the leak, which adds a bit of salt of the Earth mystique. The script says that the NPCs honking someone out of the building, or actually more charming when it also not just some brewed in a lab choreographed moment designed to make the world feel more alive. Perspective, buyers of the official Outlaws presentation have been so chemically engineered to not ruffle any feathers. It's been hard to get excited about it. That's not the sentiment here. The entirely unshared by players watching this game, either as one notes on the game's subreddit, having just watched the leaked footage. I've gone from skeptic to actually being pretty excited about this again. I've read it a lot about the wanting this to feel cinematic, like an extension of the film, and this first time outside of the early trailers, I've got that vibe. Similar to the game leak and rumors was smattering of former skeptics responding to the footage with overall equivalent to, hey, not too shabby. Don't place any bets on the red just yet, although talking looks fun, but it's also the type of game that I would get a 5-year for like $10 level of excitement. All right, so he's saying that the leaked footage, which we won't look at here, actually gets him more excited because it's not that predetermined, like, walk slow, look around. Like, again, nobody does that type of stuff. So, all right, we'll have to take a look at that off stream and see how it goes. Place your bets if this game is going to get a 7 out of 10. It's not a bet, it's a given. There you go. Yeah, Borderlands just looks bad. Looks bad. All right. That's going to do it for me this morning. We covered quite a bit of stuff this morning. If you guys missed any of it, go back, check it out. Watch it at 1.5. Good speed to watch me at. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Join us this evening for 8 p.m. Eastern right here on 30NSG for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. I do appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us in the mornings, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.